right then, good morning, everyone. Today is October 14th, 2020. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being held in Albany and also remotely. We have in Albany Chairman Bradley. We have by video joining us Commissioners Fan and Commissioners Ford. We also have in the Albany offices General Counsel Meyerhoff, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Roberts, and myself, Secretary Donahue. The next meetings of the authority will be October 28th, and then the meetings in November are the 10th and the 24th. Those are both Tuesdays. Chairman, do you have anything else you want to raise before
No,
I have my 2 cents?
Yeah, you had something you wanted to raise, which I agree with.
All right, so we've been having some issues with the licensees who are submitting payment either for a conditional no contest offer, no contest plea, or accepting a counter offer to get their licenses back for those who have been summarily suspended. Just as a reminder, either the day of the meeting, after the meeting, or the following day, and for this meeting, it's going to be tomorrow, an email goes out to all those licensees, letting them know what happened, whether their conditional offer was accepted, if there's a counter offer, or if they pled no contest, what the penalty is. And then attached to that email is a copy of the Advisory 2020-19, which gives all the instructions about how to submit payment and get your license back and how the license will be returned. What is happening in our Secretary's office is that the attorneys and the representatives, I don't think, are actually reading the advisory. I've actually had attorneys and reps tell me that they haven't read it, even though I attach it to every email I send out to them. So I'm just going to ask or request that you read the email and make sure your clients follow the instructions. All right. If it's a counteroffer, we need an email saying that the licensee accepting the entire counteroffer. We're getting emails just, here's the money, without any reference to any conditions that are imposed by the members. We need that, and then we need the money sent to the Secretary's office. I will suggest to you that you send it either by FedEx or UPS, because if it goes by overnight post office mail, it doesn't come to us directly. It comes to us after it goes to the Office of General Services, so there is a delay in us getting the package. Please don't request that we get it back to you some other means other than it's going to be sent back to the licensee by UPS within 3 business days of us getting payment. The last thing I want to note is that it's also quite clear that many of the licensees are not being told by their reps or their lawyers what the terms of the conditional offer or the counter offer are, because they're contacting us and they have no clue that their license is not going to be restricted either to time or to music or to both. And we're referring all those people back to their attorneys, but they're not getting that message from their reps or their attorneys. All right, that's all I have. So with that, we'll get to the calendar. First item is 1335. Cats on the Bay, Inc. It's a conditional no contest offer of $1,500. Commissioner Fan?
You're muted, Gary.
Oh, go ahead.
Counsel's office is going to pull this one back because there is a subsequent EO charge that is not included on this offer, and counsel's office believes they should be considered together. There was another EO case. NOP went out on September 30th for an incident on September 18th. So we would like to pull this back.
Okay.
All right, so that objection is going to be returned to counsel's office. Next item, 1336, Dim Sum Palace Yawn, Inc. This is also conditional no contest offer of $1,500.
Employees were observed not wearing masks by our investigators.
Commissioner Fan?
Oh, except 1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
Accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item 1337, Ritmo 60s Inc. It's a $2,000 conditional no contest offer.
2,000.
Commissioner Ford,
2,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next items 1338, 39, and 40. Links Lounge Inc. This is a CNC revocation. The license is already revoked.
Revoke for the record.
Commissioner Ford,
Revoke for the record.
Chairman Bradley.
Revoke for the record.
Next item 1341, 54 Knoll LLC. This is a request to extend the deadline for the conditional approval.
I will go to March 26, 2021.
Commissioner Ford,
March 26, 2021.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll do the same and just note that it's the last one. They'll be over 2 years at that point, right? Or they'll be at
2 years.
yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
This will be a final extension. Next item 1342, Grupo Gitano LLC and Gitano NYC LLC. This is an application to change the method of operation.
So this, I do think we need to say something about this. This, what you want to say? Go ahead.
No, this is I can say it. This is a vacant lot that's being used as a summer for a summer license. There's a construction project that includes a school, I believe. That was delayed last year, and so they asked for one additional year, one additional summer, which the board granted them, and now they are back asking to be open again next summer, and their initial papers say that the tower that's being built is being delayed, and then their supplemental papers say that it may be delayed, and the property owner is considering its options.
Which to me is really not the only point here. When we granted this, we were told, and the community board was told, it would be for 2 summers, and we granted it with that in mind, as did the community board. They came back and asked for a 3rd summer because of whatever construction delays or whatever the case may be, and we granted that. Now they want a 4th summer, and they have not run this through the community board. And I don't believe the community board intended that this was going to be a multi-year thing, or they didn't deal with it that way. And I know I didn't deal with it that way. And I'm not really comfortable doing it for a 4th year without their input. I don't know where you two stand.
Commissioner Fan,
I thought the community board did give their input. They voted.
They voted
community
when
board
it was initially brought to us. They voted on it 3 years ago, but it was presented to them as it was presented to us, which it would only be for 2 summers.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Now they're looking for a 4th summer, and this is a relatively big operation in the middle of a very busy neighborhood that we're all aware it's busy, and I don't know that we have a complete understanding of the effects that this place has had on that neighborhood, good or bad.
They didn't provide notice to.
And they haven't notified the community board.
Yeah.
And they're looking
All
for
right,
they're looking for next summer, so it's not like it's.
Yeah, there's still time. I would agree with you that they need to go to the community board first. I'm also concerned about the fact that they now say that there's 70% of the food that's served there is cooked off-site. Not really sure what that means. Adam, I would look at that more closely when it comes back again. But for now,
Any
should I
history?
hold it over, Chairman? Do you want to hold it over, or?
I don't know, Adam. What do you think? We vote on it, or do we?
Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is a summer, so they're gonna have to reapply or do renewal. You can have the renewal come before the members.
I think the intention of the representative was to see if the members would grant a further season before they went through the process so they could plan appropriately for the upcoming year. As it was require new agreements in a lease or whatever the case would be. So that was the intention. If you want to hold it over to have them get input, I've been informed by the representative that they were notifying the community board. We don't have anything back for them yet regarding this.
So this isn't really any change of any method of operation.
This is not a change in method of operation.
Simply
The
to,
cover sheet that you have is mislabeled. There was a previous method of operation change in which the members stipulated that anything past 2020 renewal would have to come back before them. So this is not actually a change in method of operation. Rather, it's a request for an extension for another year into summer season 2021.
all right, so I'll put it over then. We can put it over for a month.
We do have
Yeah.
we do have some anonymous complaints to the pause enforcement email about COVID violations there this summer, but we do not have an investigative report and do not have an open case.
I don't have any problem with holding this over to get some community board input. I mean, this has been a horrific summer for everybody. So I definitely don't mind holding it over for them.
And Commissioner Fan, to your point about the food, so they are licensed as a bar tavern. So while the food may be prepared off-site, they just have to have it available on-site under that class.
Okay. All right. You want 11:10 or 11:24, Chairman?
Probably the 24th, I would guess, just
Okay.
to,
All right, we're all good with that?
Over to what, 11:20?
Outdoor party 30.
Next item, 1343, Cabana Lounge LLC. This is an application to change the method of operation. Commissioner Fan?
oh, hold on. So let me just summarize this. Right now they have 1 a.m. closing, no DJs, no dancing, no live music, and 2 security guards on weekends. What they want is 2 a.m. Sundays through Thursday, 3 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. They want to add live music. The community board says they can only be open till 2 a.m., yet they're asking to be open till 3 a.m. I think Gary has
Yeah,
something to say about
the
that.
supplemental submission from their representative attaches a document. Let me just turn to it. Certificate of occupancy from the New York City Department of Buildings that the representative reads as suggesting that the restriction to 2 a.m. only applies to the billiard parlor next door. And there certainly is a restriction on the billiard parlor next door. But it also provides a 2 a.m. restriction for the mezzanine, which is in both premises, I believe. I don't know if you have this open, Adam. Can you see whether there's a mezzanine in the licensed premise?
Yeah, there is, because that's where the alcohol is being stored.
So I'm not so sure that the representative's interpretation of this document is accurate, but I will also note for the record that we have a series of complaints, COVID-related complaints that we are investigating that began on September 4th, 2020. No social distancing, open till 4 a.m., 100 standing around, over 200 standing around, after hours party, DJ live streams every weekend, full-blown nightclub outside, open and packed. Those are complaints. They're not we haven't charged yet, and we certainly haven't proven anything. But there is some suggestion that this location may already be open later than their license permits.
And they've only been open about a year and a half at this point. Okay.
All right then, Commissioner Fan,
I will vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford,
I think it's denied as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to deny.
Next, item 1344, Georgina Grocery Inc. It's a new grocery store beer license.
So I think I have to say something about this one too. Based on my review of it, it appears that this licensee and the new owner, who's the applicant, happens to be the wife of the former owner, are trying to circumvent our enforcement process. Gary, do you want to explain this?
So this is a location that's been licensed for 8 years. The principal is the husband. On December 3rd, 2019, we received a referral from tax that they were charged with possessing 17 cartons of untaxed cigarettes. It does not appear that we've charged that yet. 3 months later, March 11th, 2020, there was a second sale to minor at the location. An arrest was made, so the licensee probably knew about it on March 11th. 2 weeks later, he filed this application to transfer the business to into his wife's name. She's a housewife for 30 years, it says, and was in sales retail for the last 2 years.
All right, with that, Commissioner.
He's obviously aware that the ramifications of further violations and is trying to reset the corporation pretty much.
Commissioner Fan,
I vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford,
Vote to deny.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to deny.
Next item 1345, Buffalo Soul Catering LLC. It's an application for a new on-premises liquor license.
They're currently on a temp. They were actually open without alcohol in March of 2019. It's a restaurant with 5 employees, with an employed manager, no security, recorded music only. There's a lot of adverse history at this place. 7 licenses at this location since 2000, and 4 of those 7 have been canceled.
Also of note, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
total expenses of $2,000.
Well, that's why I looked at that because they have been open prior to this as a restaurant. That's
Okay.
why that caught my eye for the same reason.
So they've been open as a restaurant without a license.
Correct, for quite some time.
Yes.
All right. Well, that would explain why he listed his employment as being the owner of this location, but also said he has not been licensed before.
Right. It seems that they're a relatively well-known barbecue place in Buffalo.
All right, Commissioner Fan,
I am going to vote to approve with the following conditions. Recorded music only, no security, they'll hire 1 manager, no promoters, and midnight across the board. Good luck.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll vote to approve under the same conditions.
Chairman Bradley.
I will vote to approve under the same conditions.
Next item 1346, Master Catering Hall Inc. It's a new wine catering license.
This is a catering hall with 2 employees, the principal to manage, recorded music and DJ, no dancing permitted, 1 security guard. 100 people is the maximum occupancy, and the principal is inexperienced. Previous license here was canceled in 2019 for police focal point.
Commissioner Fan?
I'm really unsure about this business plan here. I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
With the history of this place, it's just my concern about it that he has no experience in running an outfit like this. So at this point, I'm going to vote to deny as well.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to deny as well. The negative history here without an experienced operator is concerning to me. And then I too have questions about the business plan. It almost seems like he plans on being open for public events, which is not permitted, obviously, under this type of license.
Next on 1447, Wine Clock LLC. It's a new package store license.
This is an Orange County package store, 2,150 square feet. 1,500 of that will be retail. 2 employees. The principal will be active at the premise, has no experience. There was 1 protest. We denied 2 other applications at this exact shopping center in 2012 and 2016. 4 stores within 2.53 miles. One is the closest store. Is that true, Adam? Is brand new. Licensed in 2019.
Yes, that's correct.
Right then, Commissioner Fan?
I'm going to vote to deny. I just don't see how convenience. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
So the past 2 have been denied at this location. All the closest 2 stores, I believe, did not respond. The 4th closest store, here's Park Creek, and the only ones who protested. This location sits in the midst of like 1,000 homes, and like I said, the closest stores didn't respond. Looking at that perspective, I mean, a letter from mailer sends protest, doesn't provide figures. So I'm going to vote to approve.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to deny. I mean, consistently we've denied licenses at this exact location for lack of public convenience and advantage. There's 4 stores in 2.53 miles. We just licensed the store in 2019, 1.32 miles away. And obviously the effect of that store on the sales in the general area is not even come into being yet. So I don't see, there's nothing been presented that would show that this store is any different than the numerous stores that are in the area, and I vote to deny.
Right, the next item, 1348, Barmar LLC. It's a CNC of $2,500.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was just wondering, I thought you might want to say something. All right, Commissioner Fan? Commissioner Fan, you're muted, just so you know. You're still muted, Commissioner Fan. There you go.
I'll accept 2,500.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll accept 2,500 as well.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll accept.
Next item, 1349, Comfort Kitchen Inc. CNC of $1,500. Commissioner Fan?
I would accept 1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll accept 1,500.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll accept 1,500.
Next item, 1350, Local West LLC, it's a CNC of $1,500.
1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1351, request for reconsideration of disapproval of an on-premises liquor license, Oriental Boulevard, 111 Food.
So the prior license here was canceled. The principal with the manager will operate the place. The principal has no experience. It's a restaurant with 5 employees, recorded music only. No live music, dancing, DJs, or karaoke. 74 people is the maximum occupancy. And the licensee was a convicted felon, but now has gotten relief from civil disabilities. So he can legally hold a license, which I believe is why we denied it.
Yes.
He wasn't going to hold the license. He had the loan.
The loan, correct.
All right. Commissioner Fan, on reconsideration, you want to grant reconsideration?
Yes, I will grant reconsideration because of the certificate of disability or relief.
Commissioner Ford, on just on reconsideration?
Yes, I grant reconsideration as well.
Chairman Bradley?
I will grant reconsideration as well.
Okay, now on the application, Commissioner Fan?
Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab the hours. Do you have a sense of what they want for hours?
No, I was asking
Right?
myself that when I reviewed it. They're not really clear.
They don't say that, right? All right, so I will,
And just so everybody's aware, there is an outside area, outdoor area that's included in this.
all right, I'm going to, vote to approve, with, background music only. Principal will manage, no dancing, no live music, no DJ, no karaoke, no promoters. And, 1 a.m. across the board.
Commissioner
Outside as
Ford.
well. 1 a.m. outside as well. Or
No, I mean, outside 10 p.m.
whatever you want. I just didn't know if you considered it.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, outside 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Inside 1 a.m. And all the other conditions that met by Commissioner Fan, I will approve.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll approve with the same conditions.
Next item, 1352, El Alto Deli and Mexican Food LLC, to request to extend the deadline for the conditional approval.
I don't know. This is so idiotic. Should we just do more than the 2
Yeah.
months?
Yes.
I have- End of
Go
the
right
year.
to. You can go to March.
Okay. Why don't we do March 14, 2021?
Final,
Commissioner Ford?
that'd be the 2-year mark.
Yes.
March 14, 2021.
Chairman Bradley?
March 14, 2021.
The next items, 1353, 54, 55, to request for reconsideration, Torch and Crown Soho LLC. It's from distiller, microbrewer, and combined craft manufacturing licenses. It was a disapproval.
So this was a application we denied because our investigator discovered that they were selling beer from their other brewery, which is located in the Bronx, out of this they were selling it out of this location. They have acknowledged that they were doing that. They plead ignorance. The question I have, Adam, is there a full OP here too, or is this just
It's just the tasting room is all that's applied for, and I believe in the
and the brewery?
and I believe
Well,
in
no,
the
no,
reconsideration.
they would have, under the microbrewer's license, they would have the right to have a restaurant, but only sell their own beer and then New York State labeled.
No, I know that. I'm asking if they got an OP
Yeah,
so they can sell anything.
There was some suggestion the first time this came around that they were going to have more and they were going to be outside. And there was some confusion in the way it was applied for. They've clarified that now and say they do not want to be outside, or they're not asking to be outside now at least.
Okay.
So right in their reconsideration request, they made fully aware that they're not going to be operating outside without filing an alteration application with us first. Additionally, that they're not going to be serving in an OP any outside of New York beverages,
And so,
alcoholic beverages.
and it looks like it's the first floor and then the cellar. There's 126 seats in the first floor. The cellar is 40 seats. Their hours are Sunday to Thursday, 12 to 12, Friday through Saturday, 12 to 1. They do have stipulations they've entered into it, apparently. And that's all I got.
Commissioner Fan, on the reconsideration.
Yes, I will vote to reconsider.
Commissioner Ford,
I will vote to reconsider as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I will vote to reconsider.
On the application itself then, Commissioner Fan.
I mean, honestly, as the chairman said, I frankly don't buy this ignorance argument. Because of the amount of money that's been invested in this location, I really don't feel comfortable taking it away from them, but I will say that this is a very short leash, and these operators really, really need to get some good industry advice as to how to operate this properly. And if you have questions, please call Adam. Ha. And with that, I will vote to approve with midnight hours across the board. Background music only.
Commissioner Ford,
I pretty much feel the same way. What they did wasn't right. Maybe they did get some bad advice, and they do have a substantial investment here. So again, they're on our radar right out of the gate. But I will vote to approve as well with midnight and background music, midnight closing and background music.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to approve under the same conditions.
Next items, 1356 and 1357. Post 213 LLC, it's a CNC of $3,500.
35%.
Mr. Ford,
3,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
I thought this should be higher, but having looked at the facts, it was not really, both cases were not that egregious, so I'll take the 3,500.
Next item, 1358, Ammonia Cafe Inc., it's a CNC of $1,500. Commissioner Fan.
This has been operating since 1985. I would be willing to go down to 1,000.
Commissioner Ford,
That's exactly what I had, 1,000.
Chairman Bradley.
1,000.
Next item, 1359, Miller's Ale House Inc., CNC of $1,500.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1360, it's a conditional offer of it's R.L. Malone Inc., it's a conditional offer of $1,500. License is going into safekeeping until there's 100% capacity in Oswego. The license has been summarily suspended since August 28th.
So this guy's basically offering to shut down until this is all over?
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Well,
I think-
he was just licensed.
Yeah, they were literally open a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he had 30 to 50 people on the second floor dancing, standing with no food, 25 people outside waiting to get in. Don't blame him.
Okay.
It must have been fun.
So if he puts the license in safekeeping, does that stop the clock on it, or does it continue?
No, it continues.
It's still considered an active license.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Fan,
I will accept 15,000. The safety commitment.
Is this the first time?
Commissioner Ford,
No, not yet.
Let's accept 15,000. I mean, I guess I don't really care if he wants to put it in safekeeping or not. But if he's closing for now, perhaps he should. Because it can be retrieved at any time. Is that correct, Commissioner Roberts?
Well, on his offer, it can't be retrieved at any time. If
Yeah,
you're
he said
not going to
100%.
accept that part of the offer, then he can retrieve it at any time, yes.
And generally, safekeeping isn't used for people to voluntarily shut down. It's used for the purposes of them making temporary alterations of the such while they're not operating. So generally, if people are voluntarily putting their license into safekeeping to be not operational, that's not something that we typically do.
But we also have waived the
Yeah.
safekeeping requirement
Correct.
for now, which means
So if he decides to close his establishment due to COVID restrictions, there is the advisory in place that would allow him not to put his license into safekeeping if he chose to do that during COVID in the governor's executive orders.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking. He doesn't really have to. I'll accept the $15,000, but I'm not asking him to put it in safekeeping. His license.
so he would be able to open up
All
then.
I'll do the same.
He could open up when he wants to.
Well, I mean, we're not going to police that anyway. We're not suspending the license, and 100%. Who knows if they're going to go to 80%, 75%? I have no idea. So I don't think anybody does. So what he did deserves the fine, but we certainly haven't been asking for suspensions.
All right, so
Any other
Commissioner
conditions
Ford,
on operating?
What?
Any other conditions on the method?
I don't have any.
Okay.
so then Commissioner Ford and Chairman Bradley, you're accepting the counteroffer. I mean, you're accepting the CNC, but not requiring the safekeeping portion of it.
Correct. If he wants to close, he's welcome to it, and as Commissioner Ford said, it's probably a good idea.
Next time, 1361, Mayprod Terani Corp. It's a CNC of $2,500.
2,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
I would do 2,000. I mean, they've been open since 2009. No history. Years.
Chairman Bradley,
Side service. They're lucky they didn't get summarily suspended. I'm at 2,500.
next time, 1362, Bono Pizza Restaurant Corp. It's a CNC of $2,500.
also inside service.
2,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
2,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Except.
Next time, 1368, it's a Squeenet 96 Inc. This is a request for reconsideration, disapprove the on-premises liquor license.
Which one is next?
1363,
Okay, all right.
So he wants to go from an RW to an OP with a 4 a.m. closing. He ended up with the RW and earlier closing hours because the community board in Queens had strong opposition, and so did the Police Department because of the previous activities here by the former licensee. And we don't have any evidence that the community board or the police department has changed their view on that.
Yeah, he wants to go from midnight to 4 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And add karaoke and a DJ.
And full alcohol.
Oh, and, right.
All right, Justin, on the request for reconsideration, Commissioner Fan,
I vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford,
I vote to deny as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to deny. I don't see anything new presented here that wasn't considered before.
All right, next item, 1364, Sun Canor Petroleum, Inc. It's a request for reconsideration of a disapproval of a package store license.
We denied this on public convenience and advantage. There is a store right around the corner from this that's been in existence for a while. The next closest store after that's 4.2 miles away.
Yeah, the basis for the reconsideration is there's a lot of traffic that goes by here, but I believe that was already considered by the board the first time.
All right, on the request for reconsideration, sorry,
Yeah, go
Commissioner
ahead.
Fan,
I vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford,
I vote to deny as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to deny. We considered everything previously that he has put in the reconsideration. They just didn't like the outcome of our consideration.
Next item, 1365, Graham Ave Pizza Corp. It's a $2,000 CNC. Commissioner Fan,
2000 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
2000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Except,
Next item, 1366, 307 3rd Avenue, East Venture LLC. It's a $1,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan,
1500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
1500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
except,
Next item, 1367, 92 and 3rd Rest Court. It's a CNC of $1,500 civil penalty.
1500 accept.
Ford,
1500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
except,
Next item, 1368, Exchange Hotel, Inc., $2,000 civil penalty, CNC.
I know this one. I go here.
Commissioner Fan,
Commissioner Ford, do you know this place?
I do, yes.
Yeah, that's just more towards his neck of the woods.
The charges are bartender wearing no mask. Our investigator was served without asking for food, without asking him if he wanted any food.
All right.
It's not a problem. This is not a problem location, I can tell you.
Yeah. Since 1966, so I'm going to go down to 1500.
Commissioner Ford,
That's what I had, 1500 as well.
Chairman Bradley.
1,500.
Next items, 1369, 1370, 380 East Ventures LLC. It's a CNC of $3,000.
I feel like this should have been higher.
I agree with you.
I'm going to go to 5000.
Commissioner Ford,
This place was also broken into. I don't know if that matters in terms of the violations.
Wait, I'm not following. Broken into for what?
They were broken into. Hang on a second.
This karaoke bar.
No. Yeah, no,
They were burglarized twice.
the mitigation letter claiming hardship on the grounds that they've been burglarized.
Oh, okay. No, it had nothing to do with our investigation.
Correct. Now, the first proceeding, there were 12 people standing and congregating in front near your tables. That was in late June. And then a week later, patrons drinking in front from to-go cups, and 2 employees with no masks.
Okay.
I do not believe there was notice of our first case before the second charges were observed.
So I'm willing to accept the 3,000.
Chairman Bradley.
5,000.
Item 1371, Rugford 1350 LLC, $10,000 CNC. The license was summarily suspended on September 23rd. Commissioner Fan,
10,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
10,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Do we have a question about an availing here?
Manager is going to be added onto the license.
And he identified himself as an owner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I was going to go down, but yeah, I didn't.
So Chairman Bradley,
I'll do the same.
okay. 1372, 241 Ferry Corp, $3,500 CNC. The license was summarily suspended on 8/29.
So I thought this was low. There were 20 patrons standing and congregating in front of the establishment, many without masks, and social distancing was not enforced. Patrons were dancing to live music.
Yeah, the licensee complains of already being suspended for a significant period of time. I'll note for the record that the reason for that is because the licensee chose to take the case to court and did not prevail, and only approached us after he lost in court with an offer to settle, and had never asked for a hearing.
You know, and that's be real. The reason we suspended him is because he wasn't operating in a safe manner, and there was no information that we had that indicated that he was able to do that.
I do want to note that they are licensed as a restaurant with recorded music only, no DJ, no promoters.
No live music, I take it.
Yeah, well, there's some dispute about whether he brought the live music there himself, or they just showed up and he stood there while it was happening. So that we haven't proved that allegation. But anyway, the offer is
Pied Piper kind of thing.
yeah, the offer is $7,500, and we sent it up not because we believed that was the right number, but because that was what was offered.
Okay.
Commissioner Fan,
I'm at 12.5.
Commissioner Ford,
I was at 10,000.
Chairman Bradley.
11,250.
One of those.
What's the middle ground?
11,250.
11,000.
Somebody else know.
Okay, so there's no counteroffer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go 12.5. That's fine.
All right then, 1373, Don Pablo Inc. It's a no contest plea.
This is a straight no contest. 5 people congregating outside without social distancing and many without masks.
Commissioner Fan,
I'm at 12.5.
I'm sorry, you broke up there a little bit. Could you repeat that?
1,250.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford,
I didn't hear her.
She said 12.5, correct?
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
but she means 1,250.
1,250.
Right.
Stay at 1,500.
Chairman Bradley.
1,500.
Next item, 1374, El Patron Restaurant and Lounge Inc. It's a default on pleading.
Face masks face mask charge for employees, the penalty was signed for.
At 1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
You're just imposing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,500.
Next item, 1375. Hamlet Grill Corp. Matter went to hearing and all the charges were sustained.
So sustain 1 and 2.
Yes, for the record, this is a case where the board, concerned that the son was going to be the operator, initially denied the application and then, on reconsideration, agreed to grant it on the condition that the son not work in the location. And then an investigation found the son working there and running the place. The case went to hearing, and at hearing, evidence was adduced that the son has a felony conviction.
Uh-huh.
And during the hearing, the testimony denied that the son had a felony conviction. Our prosecutor asked the mother for the date of birth of the son, and then discovered through the date of birth and a search that it was indeed a felony conviction, and added that to the record. There's no statement as to how the place will be operated going forward in response to this hearing from the licensee.
If it is operating going forward.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's no suggestion. The argument was made during the hearing, and the ALJ commented accepted that the son may have been working there because the mother was no longer well enough to run the place. But with respect to discipline on the case, no explanation has been offered as to how this convicted felon would not be involved in the continuing operation of the location.
All right, Commissioner Fan?
Yeah, I remember giving this license to the mother and the sister, and they swore up and down that they will not have him work there. And it's very clear that they came in to get the license for him, it looks like. I believe the location is permanently closed anyway, so I'm going to cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm at 12.
Jim Brown?
Okay. Cancel and bond.
Yeah, the license was expired. I don't know whether they're trying to.
Oh, they have a renewal that was pending.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Next item, 1376. Pill Spanish Tablets, Inc. It's a default. Pleading.
I'm at 2,000.
Commissioner Ford?
2,000.
Chairman Bradley?
2,000.
$13.77, Hazal Food Corp. This is a defaulted pleading.
Yeah, this case is probably closed. Bond taken. Cancel for the record.
Yeah, cancel for the record.
Chairman Bradley?
Cancel for the record.
Next item, 1378, Havali Restaurant, Inc. It's another defaulted pleading. License was surrendered back in August.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
Cancel and bond.
Chairman Bradley?
Cancel and bond.
Next item, 1379, 1291 First Avenue Wine and Liquors, Inc. The matter went to hearing. Yeah, some of the charges sustained, some dismissed.
Yes, counsel's office is going to ask that this case be taken back. There's a very lengthy decision which I am still trying to digest and understand, and in all likelihood, we will be presenting a letter to the board asking that some of the charges, at least one of them, but some of the charges that were dismissed actually be sustained on legal grounds that the ALJ failed to comprehend. as reflected in the opinion. We will also give the licensee who's open and operating, so the delay does not affect them, give the licensee an opportunity to respond to the letter that we put in and bring the matter back to the board for consideration.
What, you just want the matter held over then?
Send it back to us. Well, wait,
Well, it doesn't go back to you because it was with the
because
hearing.
it's not with me, right? Yeah, we have it held over to, not the next meeting, but the 2 meetings.
The 24th.
November 24th, yes.
Commissioner Fan,
Yep, November 24th.
Commissioner Ford,
Fine with me, November 24th.
Chairman Bradley.
Yeah, yes, fine with me.
Next item is 1380. Mobile Tavern Inc. to $1,500 CNC.
I will be willing to go to 750 for this, just because they've been around since 1971 and no adverse history. And they've complied since the issue, since,
There's no adverse 2012.
right, since 2000.
All right. Commissioner Ford,
Uh, I was willing to go down to 1,000.
Chairman Bradley.
What is Commissioner Fan at?
We got 750 and 1,000.
All right, I'll go to 1,000. Can we take 5 minutes?
Yes.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a brief recess. Please just all mute your mics, please. I think we're all back and ready to get going. Commissioner Fan, you ready? Commissioner Ford? Chairman Bradley, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right then. The next items, 1381 and 1382. 2255 Eamon's Cafe Lounge, Inc. It's a CNC of $3,500. Commissioner Fan? You're muted, Commissioner Fan, just so you know.
$3,500.
Commissioner Ford?
3,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item, 1383, Fuchsia Fusion Restaurant, Inc. It's a $1,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan?
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item, 1384, Phoenix 384 Corp. It's a $1,500 CNC.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll accept.
Next item, 1385, Aqualanta Jeffrey M. Connolly's, Inc. It's a CNC of $1,500.
Given the long history, they've been around since at least 1984. And so I will go down to 1,000.
Commissioner Ford?
Same here, 1,000.
Chairman Bradley?
1,000.
Next item, 1386, JP Premier Corp. It's a $2,000 CNC. Commissioner Fan?
I'll be willing to do 1,500 for this one.
Commissioner Ford?
That's what I had down to, 1,500.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll go to 1,500.
1387, CRC Hospitality Group, LLC. It's a $1,500 CNC.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
1388, ASWN Inc., $1,500 CNC.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
1389, it's 340730 Ag West Corp. It's a CNC, $15,000, 12:30 a.m. closing, and recorded music only. License been temporarily suspended since August 7th.
$15,000 with close at 12:30 nightly and recorded music only. I'll accept.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll accept as well. 12:30 closing.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll accept.
1390, Simply Deli One Corp. It's a pleading default. Commissioner Fan?
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
Cancel and bond.
Chairman Bradley?
Cancel and bond.
Next item, 1391, Hermes Billiards and Cafe, Inc. It's a $1,000 CNC. The license expired, and last time I checked, it has not been, there's no renewal on file.
Yeah, as of yesterday, there was no renewal filed.
So just accept, right? 1,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item, 1392, Red Pocket Wine and Liquor Corp. It's a $4,000 CNC.
I really have a question about this. How would someone really know that that the liquor store is selling for resale. How
Large
would someone-
volume purchase, frequent customer, large volume purchases, reason to believe. We actually recently litigated a sustaining of this type of case and prevailed in the first department, I would say about 4 months ago.
Didn't they have statements here too?
I mean, at the end,
But-
you read the last paragraph. It says transactions are spread across 6 credit cards.
Yeah,
And
but
there are
they're
14
they're corporate credit cards.
This is not a hearing result though. This is a CNC. We have at this stage their version of events in a mitigation letter, but they're making this offer of $4,000. We have not put our evidence in. So, I mean, if you're not comfortable with the offer, that's fine. We'll take the case to hearing, but at this stage, it's just a CNC.
I'm gonna go to 2,000.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
I'm gonna go to 2,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I was going to reject, send it back to hearing. I mean, lots of transactions here over a couple of years. $7,000, one for $5,000. A lot of them in the $50 to $500 to $1,500 range. I don't know. Let me change that. I would counter at 10,000.
Chairman Bradley?
All right, just because we don't really, well, I'll take the 2002. I think that's low because had we had statements that this guy did this, they would lose their license. I recognize that the only evidence we have is multiple transactions, but those multiple transactions amount to 47,000 over a period of May 2017 through April of 2019, which is 2 years. I can't think of another reason you would purchase that much alcohol unless you were selling it. But 2,000.
Next item, 1393, Beer Barrel Inn, Inc. It's a pleading default. Commissioner Fan?
I'm at 1,500.
Hold on.
Commissioner-
This is 1393.
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
a note that I'm supposed to take this one back, right, Tom?
Is this the one where there was a late plea?
Yes.
All right, so there's a request from counsel's office to send it back to counsel's office to accept a late and not guilty plea. Commissioner Fan, you okay with that?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah.
Chairman Bradley?
Yes.
Next item, 1394, Sartoria, Inc. It's a $2,000 CNC. Commissioner Fan?
I'll go to 1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
I was at 1,500 as well.
Chairman Bradley?
1,500. 1,500.
Yep. 1395, The Headless Widow LLC. It's a $1,500 LLC. CNC.
You don't think that business is...
I'll take 1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
I was thinking it should be a little bit higher, but I'll take 1,500.
Chairman Bradley?
1,500.
Next item, 1396, Burgers Restaurant Corp. It's a $1,500 CNC.
1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
Just hit the road.
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll accept.
Next item, 1397, White Horse Hospitality LLC. This is a default at pleading.
Up to you. Okay. Hold on one second. So, I mean, obviously, these charges fell within the multitude of charges that they gave a CNC on between early June or mid June and mid July.
Yep.
And so this clearly was not intentional. They clearly would have dealt with this given the fine that they did pay. So I'm willing to do whatever you.
I think the easiest thing is to just dismiss the charges. I don't think it matters whether they're on the record or not.
Okay.
So can we send it back to counsel's office and then I'll dismiss the charge?
No, I can do it right here.
Or you can do it
No,
right here.
the board can right now just dismiss the charges.
All right, that's what I'm recommending.
Okay. Then I recommend we dismiss the charges.
Commissioner Fan,
I vote to dismiss.
Commissioner Ford,
That was my decision as well, to dismiss.
Chairman Bradley,
Dismiss.
1398, Cafe Espresso LTD. This is a conditional no contest offer of $10,000, 12 a.m. closing each night, background music, and a number of other conditions regarding the compliance with the COVID restrictions.
Entire offer looks like, other than the 12 closing and the background music, appears that they promised to follow the law that they should have been promising in the first place.
The license has been severely suspended since August 9th. Commissioner Fan,
Since it's been suspended since August 9th, I feel like we can go down a little bit on this one.
Well, this is a really bad street for compliance
Yeah,
in New York City.
I know.
Having been there myself during this period of time, I don't know that I'm comfortable giving anybody much of a break here, because a lot of the stuff I saw was intentional.
Sounds good. All right, I'll accept.
are you going to change to 12 a.m. to 12:30?
Yes, please.
All right, so accepting with 12:30. Commissioner Ford,
I'll accept the 10,000 as well and the 12:30.
Chairman Bradley,
I'll accept the 12:30 as well.
next item, 1399, Sabor Notino Corp. This is a $10,000 CNC. License was summarily suspended on September 5th. And Chairman, you're recused from this one.
For the record, the CNC says, according to our telephone conversation, we offer 10,000. So I inquired of our prosecutor who spoke with this representative what happened during the telephone conversation, and he said that it was just a general statement that he went over the guidelines with his client to ensure that they would be followed. And our prosecutor also says that he asked several times for a letter of mitigation, and no such letter was delivered. He didn't want to sit on the offer, so he sent it up.
All right, Commissioner Fan,
I'm going to counter at 10,000, 12:30 closed, background music only, and require a letter of mitigation explaining how the operation will be different, specifically how they plan to provide food.
so for purposes of that, then would the license would not be returned until we got that letter, correct?
They have already asked for it.
All right. Commissioner Ford,
I'll accept those same terms as Commissioner Fan.
Because if they're not going to bring food, they should not give us the $10,000.
does that letter need to be reviewed? I mean, is just the submission of the letter sufficient, or does it have to meet certain criteria? And who's going to determine that?
I think as long as it's sufficient with licensing. we'll leave it there.
Just for my notes, can you repeat what what they accepted again is, Tom?
It's the counter offer is $10,000, 12:30 a.m. closing, recorded background music only, and the submission of a letter of mitigation that addresses sufficiently for licensing purposes the issues.
Such as providing food.
Right. The next item, 1400. It's 8934 Grandview Beach LLC. With a $3,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan?
Am I misreading this? That I think this is high?
Yes. No, you're not. You're correct. It is.
Okay, so I'm gonna go from 3,500 to 1,500.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes, I was thinking the same thing, 1,500.
Chairman Bradley?
1,500.
Next item, 1401, Sonos Americano Bar Restaurant Corp. This is an application to change the method of operation.
So they have been licensed since March of 2019. The max occupancy is 283. The applicant wants to change hours and closing time and has this community board approval, wants to add entertainment as well. Now he has recorded music only and also has 3 pending disciplinary proceedings with us, including a summary.
4, actually.
4. He wants 4 a.m. closing. The bar closes at 3 a.m. and he also wants recorded music and karaoke.
2 sale to minors from November of 2019. 1 count relating to noise, December of 2019. The third case has 11 counts, including using a DJ without authorization, multiple fire code violations, and on the 4th case, which resulted in the suspension, 75 people in the basement with the front gate closed and a live DJ in the basement.
I remember this one. I don't think we should do anything here until these other charges are settled.
I do.
Well, we can't do that here, Chairman, so.
Are you? I'm not prepared to grant this. I don't know that we need to put it over because those charges could be months.
Yeah, it was pretty egregious what they did too.
Right. They want more hours and more entertainment. It looks like they've already been having both.
Without asking.
I vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
I vote to deny.
Chairman Bradley?
Deny.
Next item, 1402, My Place Liquors and Wine Corp. This is a new package store license.
This is a Queens package store, 1,950 square feet total. 900 of that will be retail. There is 1 protest. It will be a store with 2 employees and the principal to manage. The principal has no experience. The opposition says there's 5 stores within 1 mile. And
7 stores within 1.04.
Right, our records indicate 7 within 1.14 or 04, but whatever. The closest store is 0.5 miles away, and there are definitely 4 stores under 1 mile away. 1 store appears to be new, the 0.8 miles away.
Yes, as of January of 2020 this year.
And the closest store is bulletproof. This will be non-bulletproof, I believe, right?
Yes.
Correct.
All right, then, Commissioner Fan?
You?
The proposed space is significant, and the second closest door is showing decline of over 500,000 in 4 years. So I don't see public convenience, and I don't see a need for another store, so I vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
Deny as well.
Chairman Bradley.
So I'm going to vote to deny. I don't see any public convenience and advantage.
Next item, 1403, 111 North Wellwood Avenue LLC. It's a new on-premises liquor license.
The ALJ here found this is a 500-foot law case. The ALJ found public interest at the 500-foot hearing. There are 7 licenses within 500 feet. It's going to be a restaurant with 3 employees, 1 security guard. The principal will manage 1 to 2 private events a year, recorded and then live acoustic music, no dancing. The owners do have experience. It appears Mr. Finnerman has other licenses with very little adverse history. The previous licensed establishment here was canceled in July 2019. And we actually did a summary on that before that led to the cancellation.
All right, so with that, Commissioner Fan?
Hey,
And
Adam,
there's no discussion of hours, which I'm sure we're all wondering.
yes, again. Hey, Adam, can you do me a favor and just look up why Eric Finneran had disapproval
Sure, one moment.
from 2013?
Sure.
Thank you. Leaky lifeboat. Quite appropriate.
Commissioner Fan, it looks like we had previously disapproved in 2013 for a false material statement between some circumstances regarding charges between a buyer and seller made by their representative under the self-certification program.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the material statement is, or it's not super relevant?
I don't think it's relevant here.
Okay. All right. Given that they have decent history with the agency, I will vote to approve with principals to manage, 1 security guard, recorded music and live acoustic music, but no dancing, no promoters, and 2 a.m. across the board.
Commissioner Ford?
My major concern was that there was no relationship with the previous owners, which from looking through things, I don't see there to be. Adam, does licensing have any concerns about that?
No, there's nothing that we found that would indicate that.
Okay, all right. Then I'll approve under the same stipulations as so stated by Commissioner Fan.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll approve under the same conditions.
Next item, 1404, The Beast Next Door, Inc. This is a new on-premises liquor license.
So this is a 500-foot law case. It was previously licensed. They have stipulations with the community board. However, the ALJ found no public interest in this instance, basically criticizing the public interest statement that was put in by the representative of the applicant. It appears that this representative does not understand that the public interest of an establishment is the applicant's burden and not assumed. But that being said, the ALJ didn't seem to have a significant number of specific problems with this application. It's supposed to be a tavern with 3 employees, no security, and principal as manager. Recorded music, no dancing. Max occupancy is 74 people, 22 tables with 52 seats and 5 seats at the bar. There are inconsistencies in the application about where the door to the place is, whether it's on the right side of the building or the left, and also whether the building is actually a multi-unit building or just a single occupancy building, which would also probably go back to the representative. The stipulations with the community board are the time is Monday through Wednesday, a 12 a.m. close, Thursday through Saturday, a 2 a.m. close. I guess they're closed on Sunday. No dancing and live music, and no live music or DJ.
Currently operating on a 10, I believe.
Is that correct, Alan?
Yeah, for how long?
Just one moment. It's valid right now. So the original came in July. They've been operating since.
No disciplinary, no complaints in our record.
All right, Tom.
All right then, Commissioner Fan?
Before I vote, I just want to say something. This representative at the chairman mentioned that the 500-foot hearing actually came out against this licensee, and it's because the representative chose not to answer some of the questions. And he wrote us a letter saying that I submitted in response, I answered these questions the way I did because there was a transfer of a currently operating premise with no change in the method of operation of any kind. I think these representatives should really understand that please do not come to our agency assuming that we know the history of the location because of the independence of some of our brains. We really don't have that information, and you shouldn't submit paperwork assuming that we know things because you're going to compromise the rights of your licensee at some point. Because we getting these 500-foot hearings that are against the licensee, and this grace period is only going to go on for so long.
Right, and and the other thing we don't know is if the former licensee was subject to the 500-foot law, whereas this one is, and this is a new licensee.
Exactly. Or you can at least say that and say there was an existing license there. Say something. Don't say anything. Just don't leave it completely. Its location in a busy urban area is not an answer. Anyway, and so I will vote to approve with no security guard, principal as manager, recorded music only, no dancing, no security guard, no promoters, and closing at midnight Monday through Wednesday. I think it's midnight Sunday through Wednesday and 2 a.m. Thursday through Saturday.
So the community board hours of stipulations for hours?
Yeah.
Yes, except that they only allow them to operate for 6 days a week, and they're supposed to be closed on Sunday, Adam. But just
I'll verify the method of operation because I have it listed as open being 7 days a week.
But they, rather than have to come back and ask us, just leave it at 7. If they want to close, they can close.
Right.
no. In the stipulation with the community board, it actually specifically says 6 days, but I would just go to 7 days, Adam.
Okay.
And there are other stipulations included in here, a lot of it surrounding reasonable efforts, which I don't think we need to include on the license.
So then for Sunday, then would you put 12 a.m. closing?
Yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
It says the establishment questionnaire indicates that the premises is located in a multi-unit building. However, the photographs submitted as well as photos from Google Maps depict a one-story building. From looking at the pictures of it, I can see how it is possible that it could be a multi-unit building. It definitely is only one story. So I'm not sure if that's a contradiction or an issue. So I'm going to vote to approve under the same stipulations as Commissioner Fan.
Chairman Bradley.
I will do the same.
Next item, 1405, Rusty Barrel Wine, Spirits, and Gifts, LLC. The new package or license.
Wine, spirits, and gifts. The gifts kind of gives me a pause. This is a
Wine and spirits can be a gift.
Seneca County package store, 4,144 square feet, 1,100 will be retail. It's not bulletproof. There are 3 employees and the principals will manage. One principal already owns a licensed grocery store. There are 4 stores within 4.3 miles. The closest store is 0.4 miles away. 2 protests.
And a letter of support from the mayor.
The second closest store is a new store, which might explain
Correct. December 2019.
Which
license.
might explain why it didn't report.
Commissioner Fan.
I'm unsure that this town needs 2 stores. And there are 2 protests. The closest stores are really doing up and down numbers. Really nothing to write home about, so maybe they can find a different location, but for now I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford.
The closest store is really around the corner, like 3 blocks away, and downtown Waterloo is really not that big. I understand the mayor's support and wanting to have a store in this area that's developing, but in the heart of the village. But we did just license the store last year, a little over a year ago, so we don't have any effect of that, although it is 2 miles away. But as Commissioner Fan put it, I too am not really convinced that the village of Waterloo needs another store, or maybe they might, but I don't know that they do 3 blocks away from one that's existing. I vote to deny.
Chairman Bradley.
And I vote to deny as well. There's no population increase that's been presented, and I doubt there is a population increase. The sales are down at 2 of the 3 closest stores, and that third store in that group is a brand new store that we just licensed, and we don't even know how that new stores are going to affect the sales of alcohol in this region. So I don't see any public convenience and advantage to adding another one.
Next item, 1406, it's Tix Bar and Restaurant LLC. Secretary's office got a request from the applicant's attorney requesting the matter be held over so it can address the items and the questions to be considered. They weren't aware of the opposition or the other issues.
Opposition or the Facebook and Instagram posts indicating other people own the bar? Or wasn't he clear?
They were focusing primarily on the opposition.
You know, they might want to focus elsewhere.
I want to broaden their focus a bit there.
They can go 1 meeting, but that's it. And I don't know what they're going to tell us because it's all printed out.
All right, that now be 11:10.
No, 10:28.
I'm sorry, 10:30.
10:28.
Yes, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. All right, next item, 1407. Caesar Properties LLC. This is a new on-premises liquor license.
This is a bar tavern with 4 employees, principal to manage, jukebox and DJ music, no security, but they do indicate they're going to have a bouncer, so I don't know what he's going to do. Principal has no experience. 85 is the maximum occupancy. There's no opposition. The previous license here was canceled in 11/19, and that was the previous licensee was the landlord, but it was actually canceled over. I believe it was just one incident of multiple sales to minors.
Yes. The offer was canceled on a case that
It was 11 minor sales to minors on the same day, or
I don't remember.
I think that was a bunch of kids in the bar that were caught.
All right then, Commissioner Fan?
Is there a college here?
No.
There's no college here?
Don't, not in Amsterdam.
Not in Amsterdam.
I'm trying to think. Hang on a second. Let me just look up something.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there's Fulton Montgomery Community College, but that's a few miles away. That's about the closest one. So I'm going to say
That's
that.
how long away?
I'm sorry?
You said how long away?
That's in Johnstown, isn't it?
Fulton Montgomery College is in, yes, it is in Johnstown. So it's probably, it's probably a good 15 miles away, estimating that. So,
Okay.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan?
All right. I can't find any reason to say no, so this will go into that pile of. I'm gonna vote to approve 10 p.m. across the board. Principal to manage jukebox music only, no DJ, no security guard, no. Oh wait, they do have a bouncer. All right, one security guard. No DJs, no promoters. 10 p.m. across the board.
Commissioner Ford?
back.
I think that 10 p.m. is a little early for a bar tavern.
Yeah, it's only because they say the kitchen is only open until 10. That's how I got the 10 o'clock. But you decide.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
The previous licensee is a landlord now, had it for about 10 years, no real history. One sale to minor offer, cancel and voucher accepted.
Well, that wasn't one sale to minor. That case was a group of underage kids, like a dozen.
Okay. One sales to minors. Got it.
Yeah.
I'll go with everything that Commissioner Fan has stated, but I would give them till midnight. I think Montgomery County they're closing, I think it's 2 a.m. I think. But I give them till midnight.
Okay, midnight is fine.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll do the same. Just make sure that the conditional approval indicates that their kitchen has to be open while the bar is open.
Yes.
Next item, 1408. William Roberts, it's a new on-premises liquor license.
This is in the town of Oneonta where we have had enforcement issues before. This is a college town. It's a bar tavern with 4 employees and a hired manager, no security. But then the application also says they are going to hire a licensed registered doorman. They want recorded music, DJ, karaoke, live music with dancing. Max occupancy is 226. The previous license was summary because of sale to minors and then revoked. There's a bad history here, adverse history.
Wasn't that
I
in
did not-
2012?
Yeah, it hasn't been open since 2013. There's no personal questionnaire from the lender. Did we get one?
Double check.
Principal has no experience
And the principal has no experience. He appears to be
to open a rock club
retired.
with 200.
We did get a personnel PQ from the lender. If it was omitted, I apologize.
Sure. And we do have 2 protests. Oh no, we don't. I'm sorry, I'm
No
reading the wrong
protests.
application.
Hey, Chairman,
Yeah.
apologies. I don't know what happened. I don't think I didn't have this in my pile, and so I just need to take time later to do this one. I'm sorry. Can
You
we
need
just
to
put
what?
this at the end? I just need time to review this one 'cause for some
Okay,
reason it
yeah, we
didn't
can
fit
put-
in
we
my
can put it
pile.
at- Yeah, we can put it at the end. Let's skip this one, Tom.
Okay, next item, 1409. Good Life BK LLC, it's a new on-premises liquor license.
This establishment is on a temporary license, but is actually operating under a completely different MO than the previous license. The previous license is currently in safekeeping and has very little history. This is a tavern with 10 employees, principals to manage, 1 security guard. They want they actually, I guess under the temp, have recorded music, DJ, karaoke, live music, and dancing. The principals have some experience. This is a place is 2 floors and has an outdoor area also. The ALJ found no public interest, once again, because the public interest statement was of 0 help. They do have stipulations with the community board, which are no smoking in the backyard. Back door and windows close at 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. No DJ after 12 Sunday through Thursday. No DJ after 2 Friday and Saturday. Close at 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and close at 3 a.m. Friday and Saturday. The previous licensee, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, I believe only had recorded background music. So this is a big change.
Big jump from what's currently licensed at that premises.
And it is a 500-foot law case.
Correct.
On a temp now since February.
So they were open like a month.
They've been, yeah, well, most of the summer probably.
Well, they were open for a short period before the COVID restrictions, and I don't know if they've been open.
Yeah, I don't actually know what they're doing right now, right?
All right, with that then, Commissioner Fan,
Again, as Chairman said, this is another one where the 500-foot hearing really didn't come out in favor of the licensee.
No,
And-
and just to add to that, Commissioner, I think that the ALJ is correct. This guy is asking for a completely different type of business, and his main reason why this is in the public interest is because it was already licensed,
Right.
which makes absolutely no sense. The burden is on the applicant to show it's in the public interest.
Especially with all the additional method of operation changes they're proposing
Yeah.
on having.
All right, then I will vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford,
So we can vote to deny and they can ask reconsideration and bring back a public interest statement. Would that be correct? As something additional to consider that we didn't have at this point?
You can do that, or we could just take away some of the stuff that they're already doing. like they're asking for every type of music under the sun. I don't know that that's actually been proven to be a good idea.
And definitely, probably not necessary right now. So I'm going to vote to deny, and they can take it from there.
Chairman Bradley,
I'll vote to deny as well, Andrew.
next item, 1410, Maria's Tavern, Inc. This is a $1,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan,
This has been operating since 1998 and no address history since 2009. I propose we go down to $1,000.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll say Glenn.
I'm sorry, what number is this again, Tom?
this is 1410.
Oh, let me see. The
Where
agenda
is-
for this was the second page. So, no.
Where's
West.
I would
Yeah,
go down
that's-
to 1,000 as well.
Chairman Bradley,
I'll go down to 1,000.
next item, 1411, El Bar Loco, Inc. This is a new on-premises liquor license.
Between 2001 and 2013, there's been 3 licenses here, all with very bad history. 2 of those were revoked. 1 was revoked with a 2-year prescription. This is and I don't believe anything has been there since 2013. This is a restaurant lounge with 4 employees, no security, principal to manage, recorded music and dancing, private event 2 to 4 times a month. Table seating for 50 with 10 seats at the bar. It looks like it's the same method of operation as the last places. And I question whether they're trying to be a restaurant or a club. It looks like they're trying to be both, which isn't really good.
they're a restaurant lounge.
The applicant has disciplinary history at another location.
I also see some issues with the principles of record have the same date of birth as the applicant principal. Twice in the applicant principal provides social security number that was different than the
Say
social.
that again? Say that again?
It's all under the applicant and under number 2. Principal of record have the same date of birth as the applicant principal. Principals of record have the same date of birth as the applicant principal.
I don't know what that means.
I think there were 2 guys of the same name. At
There
the
were
prior
two-
application,
there were two
and we
people-
needed to figure out which one it was.
Yes, that's what it is.
Now there are 2 people with the same name, potentially with different issues. The problem is that the older one gave a different, I think it's either social security number or date of birth on the other application.
Yeah, it looks like the last digit of the social security number was different than the one provided on the application.
But is it a typo different or like drastic?
It was handwritten in 2 different places, a different number, the last digit. So maybe he forgot twice what his social security number was.
Which would cause us not to be able to bring up correct licensing history for that applicant.
Or it's not his.
Or criminal history, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's something that needs to be cleared up. So this is a definite no for me.
Yes, I vote to deny as well.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to deny, but I'm going to make it clear that I'm voting to deny because of the previous license history here, the applicant's disciplinary history, as well as the method of operation, which to me is not a restaurant. Just so when it does come back, if it comes back, we're all clear on that.
Right.
You can add me to that list of reasons for denial as well.
All right, the next item then is 1412, Blues Jazz Cafe LLC. This is a reconsideration of a restaurant wine disapproval.
So this was denied because there was no explanation of how Dren Rafati acquired the ownership interest and then sold it to Valbona Bequery. The recon indicates that he sold his interest because he wanted to get out, but they don't, and that the transfer took place in the normal course of business. But the original operating agreement that Miss Bequery is a party to was signed in November 2nd, 2015. Mr. Rafati allegedly sold his interest to her in 2017, so I don't know how that works. Because he wasn't in the 2015 operating agreement, and she already had her interest in 2017, so I don't know what he could have sold her.
Right. There's the first paragraph of the 2017 agreement that they say clarifies this
Makes it more confusing.
mess. Says that at that time, Rafati owned 50% of this LLC, but under the operating agreement, Rafati didn't own that 50%. It was already owned by Valbona. So I don't know that we have any more clarity on the single reason that the matter was denied in the first place.
Well, no, I'm actually more confused. So
So,
I vote to deny.
with that, on the request for reconsideration, Commissioner Fan,
I vote to deny reconsideration.
Commissioner Ford,
I'm going to vote to deny as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to deny.
Next item is 1413, Rancho's Latin Food Corp. This is a $2,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan,
2,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
2,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item is 1414, Jocko's Pizzeria, Inc. It's a $3,000 CNC. The license expired back in May. Has not been renewed.
This is non-COVID related, just so everyone's aware.
Yes.
Correct, and there's also evidence that the corporation was dissolved, which is not addressed in the paperwork accompanying the CNC. So I don't know whether they intend to reopen or not, but Adam.
And the license is not safekeeping, is it?
No, the license expired.
Oh. Okay.
So cancel and bond.
As a counteroffer?
Right? I mean, if the corporation is and the license is expired,
Well, they haven't been charged with non-bona fide. So certainly if they are going to ask for a late renewal, we should have a hold on there to make sure that they're bona fide before we even consider it.
Yeah, so they did file a renewal, 6/24/20, to renew the license, and under normal practice, licensing would check to make sure it was an active corporation before renewing.
So what's up here is just a disciplinary case, $33,000 offer for a failure to notify and for a disorderly that's dated but involved a fight that included the bartender in 2017. And the offer's $3,000.
I'll accept 1,000.
Just saying, if they don't pay, they're going to wind up being canceled anyway. So,
Okay.
Right.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1415, Calente Cab Rest Co. Inc. This is defaulted pleading.
I used to go there when I was in high school.
Right, exactly. I mean, this place has been around a long. Yeah, it's 64. I think I was too.
Commissioner Fan,
Yeah, this is a default.
It's amazing history since '94.
Commissioner Fan, could you repeat that?
1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
I know it's default, but I was at 1,000. 64. That's the year.
Chairman Bradley,
1,500.
Mute.
Next item, 1416, Steinway LPC Corp. This is another default.
This is the one where they actually said they did not default. We got that email, right? Gary?
1416, yes. Is this
Yeah.
was it added as a supplemental?
I think so. I think we got that email
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah,
they,
we have an email, yes, saying that they're offering 1,500. They're accepting what's on page 2 of the NOP. So,
okay. So can we
I don't
accept?
know which way.
Go ahead.
Hold on a second, Tom. Is it easier to just
Just impose the $1,500.
impose the 1,500 is the easiest way?
Can we remove the default, Tom?
What's that?
Can we remove the default?
You can just impose $1,500 on the default.
I know, but I don't want the default on the record if they didn't actually default.
Well, then you're gonna have to then vacate the default and accept the CNC of $1,500. Which just involves a little extra work processing it.
Okay, sorry, Tom. I'm going to vacate default and accept the 1,500 CNC.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll go with that. Sorry, Tom.
Chairman, no, apologize to Paula. Chairman Bradley.
I'll do the same.
Next item, 1417, H245ST Corp. It's another default. License was surrendered back on September 8th.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford,
Cancel and bond.
Chairman Bradley.
Cancel and bond.
Next item, 1418, Crown Alley LLC. It's another default.
This is also a case in which this time the licensee's representative claims that if they did not intend to default, and I think he's asked for it back. The letter says that he has an email from the client saying that he forwarded the case to the lawyer, but the lawyer didn't have a record of that, and of course the email was not provided to us, so we have to take Mr. Palillo's word for it.
I'm not prepared to do that, and
We can just.
I mean, this is pretty much standard what this fine would be, so I think that we do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the outcome would have been the same. I agree with Chairman. So I meant 1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500.
Chairman Bradley.
1,500.
Next item, 1419, Still the One Distillery 2 LLC. It's the conditional no contest offer of a 1-month suspension. I'm sorry, I think there's something missing here.
I think this is the offer.
Yeah, this is the offer. They said they have no money.
Right, so this is a 1-month suspension, but it's only going to be for purchasing and selling. They'll be able to do the administrative things that a wholesaler or manufacturer has to do as far as price posting for the next months and the COD accounts and collecting money on accounts receivable.
So then what's that suspension mean? That the only thing they're not doing is making...
They can't sell. They can't. Yeah, they won't be able to make anything. They won't be able to manufacture, and they can't sell to wholesalers or retailers.
But they can still do what they need to do to keep the business in compliance.
Essentially, to allow them to resume operations once the suspension ends, because otherwise they can't price post, and then they couldn't sell the following months because there's been no price posting. And it's also going to allow them to report retailers who are delinquent, and also to collect payments on deliveries already made. Those are standard conditions when the board imposes a suspension on a manufacturer or a wholesaler. to allow them to do those, what I refer to as more administrative operations, to allow them to resume operations once the suspension is over. All right, so with that, Commissioner Fan?
I mean, the allegations sound pretty serious.
Oh, but if you read the representative's letter, he feels he can prove them at hearing, prove their innocence at hearing. I'm almost tempted to let him if he's going to sit here and deny that they actually occurred.
I'm not sure. I'm really not. I think that there has to be a financial piece to this settlement. What do you guys think?
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. What was the amount of money? Do we know?
80 cases produced from bourbon gifted by the unlicensed guy.
Yeah, it's not 80 bottles, it's 80 cases. It's a lot.
It's a couple of barrels, right, of bourbon.
He had 5 barrels, I think 2 of them went bad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gives barrels of bourbon?
A bourbon maker.
The individual in question, the unlicensed person, has been involved in a number of these types of
Yes.
he was running an unlicensed distillery.
You mean the person that gifted this stuff? Or
Yes.
whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And apparently
Right.
they put a value on the barrels at about 8,000, if you believe what we're being told.
That you think that they're saying that it's only worth $8,000 for the 80 cases?
Because they're saying, and I think this part is correct, that 2 of the 5 barrels leaked and had to be destroyed because they had a leak in them.
Right, but they're saying 80
Right.
cases.
You think it's only 80 cases out of 3 barrels.
80 cases at
Doesn't
$8,000
matter.
for $8,000. What's that?
Yeah,
$100 a case.
That's what-
Wholesale. I guess
Hmm.
of this bourbon that nobody ever heard of, or maybe they have heard of it. I don't know.
So
Commissioner Fan?
we could send this to hearing.
You
You could counter, or you could reject it.
I don't want to counter. I mean, I'll counter. I think we should counter, and if it ends up at a hearing after the counter, then so be it. Although the letter indicates he feels like that there's no way these charges could be sustained. I don't know how you explain having 5 barrels of booze from an unlicensed manufacturer in your facility, but
Yeah, this fact pattern. This fact pattern has been through our agency before
yes, it
with the
has.
exact same players. So,
Yes.
all right. So let's counter. I'm just gonna counter at 10,000 and 1 month suspension.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford?
That is exactly what I was thinking. 10,000 a month.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll go along with it. I think it could be worse than that, but that's fine.
Next items, 14, 20, and 21. Las Vegas Deli Grocery Corp. It's a CNC of $20,000. The licensee was summarily suspended on September 4th.
So Las Lagunas, I'm sorry, did you say,
Yes, 14, 20, and 21.
These are COVID-related charges as well as non-COVID related. God, can you imagine
It's a grocery store, and people are consuming inside. Gambling machines.
yes, there was an NOP, and summons issued. So there was a summons issued, back in March to the owner about consumption on the premises. We didn't charge it until after the second incident, but the summons was issued before the second incident, and the conduct continued. Which is probably why we did the suspension at that point. They were having people inside at a time when restaurants weren't even allowed to have people inside. $20,000 offer, which is significant for deli, I would think.
Commissioner Fan,
Yes, I'll accept 20,000.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll accept 20,000 as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll accept.
Next item is 1422. It's Zero Lounge Restaurant, Inc. It's a CNC of $27, midnight closing, and ambient background music only. The license was summarily suspended on August 5th. And Chairman, you're recused from this matter.
I'm actually going to pull this one back. We're not putting it back to council's office. There are actually 3 open cases on this license that are not on this CNC, and those were overlooked in the CNC. So we would like to have them all as part of one CNC for the board, or if one CNC isn't obtained for the board, we'll go to hearing.
Commissioner Fan, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford?
Back to council.
Next item is 1423. JKCT 9984 LLC. It's a $5,000 conditional offer. The license was suspended on the 12th, and then the order was vacated on the 23rd of September.
Uh, 5,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
5,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item, 1424. It's Bimbers Delwood, Inc. It's a conditional no contest offer of $9,000. A 2 a.m. closing and a security plan that's been submitted. The license has been summarily suspended to September 23rd.
Actually, there was a supplemental submission of a new offer, which was presented, which had 12,000 as the civil penalty and a 12:30 a.m. closing. So that is actually the current offer that's being made to the board on these charges.
And there's other violations that we haven't been charged with.
No,
There's other, you don't have,
we have a focal point charge and the sustained pattern.
so, I received, and they should have been included in this paperwork and they weren't. I received a number of emails from local residents. And when I say a number, 5 emails from 5 different local residents expressing, dismay that this place was allowed to operate in the manner that they have been operating, and asked that the board take this very, very seriously, given that 2 people were shot inside. They indicate that it's a nuisance for the neighborhood and the Kenmore Police Department. their statements regarding the licensee's establishment back that up.
There were 6 incidents. These are in the materials and were in the materials at the time of the suspension. 6 incidents that involve violence that caused the law enforcement to arrive on the premises. Only 2 of them were after 12:30 a.m. The rest of them were before 12:30 a.m. There's some. The letter says that the location, their letter in mitigation says the letter has an unremarkable history. It's only been open 3 years, and in the last 6 to 8 months, seems to have taken a major turn for the worse.
And that's just so everyone's clear. There were 2 people shot inside the premise. The bar did not call 911. When the police department showed up, the owner, I believe it's the owner's daughter, her name is Caitlin Bimber, was uncooperative with the police. She and another individual both denied seeing or hearing anything happen at the bar. The video was then obtained by the police department and clearly showed she was blatantly lying, and it shows the shooter shoot inside the bar. And it also shows the bouncer picking up shells afterwards. One of the victims of the shooting was 17 at the time and was inside the bar. And the place is supposed to hold 30 people, which 50% of would be 15. They had at least 20 people inside with no social distancing, people walking and standing without masks and drinking, staff without masks, and there didn't seem to be any food being served to the people drinking.
The woman with the same last name as the owner did subsequently go to the police to provide information. It's unclear what motivated that and when. So ultimately cooperated.
That's correct.
On another occasion, they found an unconscious man laying in the street. A female was also found to have been assaulted right outside the premises. So, I just think this place is a nuisance and it's a threat. It's not just a nuisance; it's a threat to the neighborhood. I mean, there's houses there that are not around the place that abut the place, right on their parking lot, and there's 1,000 homes around there. Bullets could go through any one of them from this place. So I'm a definite revoke and bond.
Revoke and bond.
Revoke and bond.
All right, that's the counter order for next item 1425, Tosca Marquis Corp. This is a $2,000 CNC.
This says 2 employees with no mask. I'll be willing to go to 1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
This is 1425, Tom?
1425.
Sorry, man. What did you say, Commissioner?
1,500.
I had 1500 as well.
Chairman Bradley,
1,500.
next item 1426, Elio Rogalia Inc. It's a $2,000 CNC.
Uh, 2,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
2000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item 1427, Katona Inc. It's a defaulted pleading. Commissioner Fan,
This is service inside during phase 3. I'm at 4,000.
4,000.
Yes.
Commissioner Ford,
This was back in July. Yeah. I was at 3,000.
Chairman Bradley,
What did Commissioner Fan say?
4,000.
I'll go 4,000.
item 1428. Fort Jeff Brewing Company, LLC. This is a $1,500 conditional offer. Commissioner Fan,
I read the representative's mitigating letter. It does seem like it is possible that no patrons were put at risk for this violation, so I'll be willing to go down to 1,000.
Commissioner Ford,
The one thing I was going to say about the mitigation letter, because it wasn't really a mitigation letter, it was once again him telling us that if he went to hearing, he could win the hearing. And just for future reference, I think anybody putting in a CNC, I don't, I've been in courtrooms most of my career. The worst thing you can say to anybody that is trying to impose punishment on you is to tell them that you didn't do it. Because there is obviously a process in place that we have that you can go and find out if we can prove that you did it or not. So if you're telling us that we can't prove the case, you should not be pleading guilty or pleading no contest or pleading conditional no contest. But go ahead.
all right, Commissioner Ford,
I was just going to take the $1,500 offer.
Chairman Bradley,
I'll take the 1,500.
item 1429, at Torrey's East Inc. It's a $1,500 conditional offer.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next items 1430, Monroe Pub Inc. It's a matter that went to hearing. ALJ recommended dismissal of the charge.
All right. For the record, I read this opinion. It's lengthy. It purports to the ALJ created an affirmative defense that the licensee did not even propound. And
that doesn't appear to exist.
that doesn't appear to exist. And then interpreted a date written on a piece of paper in the record as an undisputed fact that doesn't seem to be supported, that the SLA didn't mail the renewal paperwork to the licensee in more than 60 days before the renewal, which isn't even relevant to the charge. This was already a case that had been presented to a different ALJ who left the agency before writing this opinion. And this is the second ALJ who looked at it and, in my view, completely botched it and did not even provide enough information to fix it. However, this is a very minor charge of improper notification. The amount of work that it would take the agency to dig out of this mess that this ALJ created isn't worth it. So I'm not even asking the board to overrule this ruling.
Yeah, and also to be clear, we have a license that was issued in 2012 with absolutely no adverse history. So this is not a problem location.
And a
So if anybody deserves a break, it's them.
a 12-page opinion over an improper notification for renewal felt a bit excessive. So I'm going to dismiss.
Right,
Commissioner Fan,
Dismiss.
Chairman Bradley,
yeah, I'll dismiss.
Next item, 1431, Stingrays LLC. This is a matter that went to hearing and ALJ sustained the charges.
Sustain charges 1 through 5.
I'm at 4,000.
Commissioner Ford,
I had 5,000, but I'll go to 4,000.
I only get four. There are 2 security guard charges.
sorry, what was that, Commissioner Fan?
I said I did 4 because there are 2 security guard charges.
Yep.
All right. Chairman Bradley,
4,000. That's what they were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4,000.
just so you know, the license did expire. There's no renewal on record, so if they don't pay, they're going to wind up canceled anyway. 1432, Patio Kitchen Inc. It's an $8,000 CNC. There was a summary suspension imposed on September 19th.
Yeah, this is a case where the events that led to the suspension were purportedly a fundraiser, 100 patrons standing, consuming, mingling outside. The licensee claims that this business, which is I guess the next generation of a business that started in the 80s, has never had any violations. I don't know whether that's true or not.
Commissioner Fan?
I thought 8,000 was low, but as Gary said, given the long history, if it were true, I'll be supportive of them continuing forward, so I'll accept 8,000.
Commissioner Ford?
8,000.
Chairman Bradley?
8,000.
Next item, 1433, Alexandria's Deli of New York Corp. This is a $2,000 CNC.
2,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
2,000.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Can we take a break?
Sure.
5 minutes?
All right, just remember everybody mute your lines, please. Commissioners Ford and Fan, are you there?
See Mike Hines' letter in this?
You guys aren't muted, just so you know. All right, we've got Commissioner Ford back, so we're ready to get going. And the next item is 1434. This is Star Estate Distillery LLC. This is a matter that was held over from the last meeting. It's a application for a new farm distillery license.
Yeah, this is an application for a DD in Ulster County. It's a large project on a former monastery where there will be a distillery, a tasting room. It'll be an event location. They've apparently been working on it 5 years. The two principals have a disciplinary history with the SLA, which in a supplemental letter, which I think is the reason why this was kicked over from the last meeting, was submitted now. One of the principals' disciplinary history is dated. They both relate to retail licenses. One is dated, the other is a little more recent, but the discipline is more recent, but the licensee, the applicant, Paul Cirrus, claims that he was a consultant for some locations in New York City and helped them get open and took equity in return, and then had a falling out with the way the place was managed. So he's essentially disclaiming responsibility for the conduct that took place and said extricating himself from the licenses has been difficult. At the last we heard, he was still on a retail license but was getting out, and I believe that would create a tight house issue if he did not get out, right?
Correct.
Do we have a record on that?
Conditional or
We
not?
can make it conditional that the corporate change goes through to remove them from the on-premise licenses before we issue the manufacturing.
So just to, and I don't know any of the parties involved in this, but just to be clear, this is being built. It's about 3 or 4 miles from my house, and I have driven by it, and the construction has started. There is significant local political support behind it, as evidenced by the letters that are in the record, and I believe there's also a lot of development grants for this. This is, I think, planned to be a tourist destination, and most certainly will be when it's completed.
Yeah, there's support from the town supervisor, Shannon Harris, Ulster's county executive, Michael Hine, and Senator George Amador. It does look like there's a lot that's been put into this place already. And we did hold it over. I thought we held this over to allow that one principal to be removed. That is correct, right?
Yeah, but I know just from having conversations with the attorney that this principal has been trying to get removed from this license for quite some time, and a lot of the time it's being held up because of disciplinary actions. Adam, is that correct?
In some cases, yes.
And in some cases it was because of paperwork. So they have attempted to do that. This isn't, I don't think they've waited till the last minute.
No, they had the paperwork filed. It's just a matter of getting them off and processing it.
All right, then with that, Commissioner Fan, you ready to vote?
Yes, I mean, as Gary and Chairman mentioned, Charles Ferry has a name stop history on him, which is pretty significant with our agency. However, given the different method of operation here, this is distillery, I perhaps find nightlife history to not really be that applicable. And because of that, I will vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford,
I will vote to approve as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to approve.
Next item, 1435. JMTJ Corp. This is a pleading default. Commissioner Fenn,
1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept, 1,500 not, sorry. Have it.
Chairman Bradley.
1,500.
Next item, 1436, CDB Kitchen and Bar Corp. This is a $1,500 conditional offer.
1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1437. This is a $1,000 conditional offer. That's Liberatos on 3rd Inc. Commissioner Fan,
1,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
1,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item is 1438, MJ 995 Inc. This is a $2,500 conditional offer. Commissioner Fan,
So there is only one case on record for the 1,500 for yield violations, and this is a second case. Is there a third case?
That was my question too. Is this be for everything?
I don't believe there's a third case.
there's nothing pending right now with this licensee.
There's no third charge. No third case.
Okay.
Commissioner Fan then?
I'll accept.
Commissioner Ford,
Accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1439. Centenario Bar Restaurant Corp. This is a conditional offer of cancellation and bond claim. The license expired back on September 30th.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford,
Bond.
I'm sorry, I missed that, Commissioner Ford.
Cancel and bond, Tom.
Chairman Bradley.
Cancel and bond.
Next items, 1440. Caminino Deli Corp. This is a request for reconsideration. Cancellation and bond claim was imposed on a bad check default. Licensee is asking for reconsideration.
I will grant the reconsideration, rescind the cancel and bond, and accept the check.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll grant reconsideration and to accept payment.
Chairman Bradley.
I will do the same.
Next item, 1441. 3-in-1 Deli Grocery Inc. This is a conditional offer of $20,000, 12:30 a.m. closing and background music only. Chairman Bradley, you have to recuse yourself. The summary suspension was imposed on September 11th.
This is a case where people were in a permanent inside space in the backyard that had been constructed. There were also service to people inside. Manager, no mask. They weren't serving food. It's a eating place beer, and the licensee had antibiotics behind the counter and a bottle of Chivas. The offer's made. There's no explanation for any of the conduct, or even explaining away what the antibiotics were for, which I presume the assumption is for sale, because this is a deli. The CNC says we are now in compliance with no other explanation. and the offer is $20,000, 12:30 close, background music.
Commissioner
License was
Fan?
just issued. License was just issued in February of 2020.
Commissioner Fan?
As Gary described, this location was just recently licensed. They have not done anything right. There's an illegal backyard structure, so beyond the EO violations, there are just a lot of other reasons that this place is unsafe, because of fire safety, prescription drug sales, and liquor when it's an EV. So there's no explanation as to how they're in compliance now, so I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that this is going to get into compliance. I'm at cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
I was going to counter at 25,000. And I think at that point, perhaps that would cause them to fall into line. It's a lot of money to just throw away if you're not going to. So I'm at a counter of 25,000, and Commissioner Fan is at a cancel and bond. So where does that leave us?
It leaves us with the conditional offer being rejected and the matter going back to counsel's office.
And if that's your vote.
Yeah, sorry, Gary.
No, no apology necessary. We'll take the case to hearing.
Next item is 1442. Debbie Enterprises, Inc. This is a $1,500 conditional offer.
For 25 years history, I'm willing to go down to 1,000.
Commissioner Ford?
That's what I had too, 1,000.
Chairman Bradley?
1,000.
Next item, 1443. Hamburg's Alibi LLC, a $1,500 CNC.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
1,500.
Next item, 1444. Ace of Clubs LLC, it's a $1,500 conditional offer.
Go to this place.
Where's this? Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Fan?
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item is 1445. It's a conditional offer of $1,500.
1,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford?
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley?
Accept.
Next item, 1448. It's Cabo and Cabo Corp. This is a conditional offer of $10,000. 11 p.m.
correct.
closing. Recorded background music only. Chairman, you're recused from this. The summary suspension was imposed on September 19th. The approved method of operation only allows for recorded music anyway.
Tom, you called it as 1448. It's 1446.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I? Yes, 1446.
Yes, this is a location that had a visit on September 17th. Executive order violations relating to inside service, which the bartender admits they were not serving food. There's a number of fire safety violations. Failure to conform to application charge. This is supposed to be a restaurant, was not operating as a restaurant. The purchase from unauthorized source and the unauthorized alcohol, the licensee explains as gifts that they forgot to take home, and a failure to supervise.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan?
It's unfortunate, but this looks very low to me. They have inside service, multiple tables of people sitting inside. My counter 15,000, 12:30 close, recorded music only.
Were you with me on this?
Just for clarification, so they're limited right now to recorded music.
I know.
So I don't want there to be any confusion that they think that after they'll be able to do the fast track thing to get their change, because there's nothing to change.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, we could just note that you know that's what they're food for anyway, so that's not a change.
Yep.
All right. Commissioner Ford,
I was at 20,000. I think this is
I don't have it. I don't
just-
have anything.
It's bad.
what's that? Oh,
It's bad, yeah. And chairman is recused, right?
yes.
So
All right.
I go to 20.
Okay, yeah.
all right, so 20,000 in the 12:30 closing,
Yes.
with the reminder that they're limited in any event to recorded background music.
Yes.
All right. Next item is 1447, Genlight Deli Grocery Corp. This is a $2,500 CNC.
Hold on a sec.
What was it? 20?
One back.
Oh, hold on.
Who's
Oh,
doing
go
it?
ahead.
We need to pull this one back to council's office. This is a CNC, but there was an arrest notification charge in here that was for a felony charge, and we do not have a disposition. So it would not be proper for the board to consider this fine as satisfaction until we have a disposition. So we will, we'd like to take this back into council's office.
Commissioner Finn,
My question was going to be if you had that or not. So thank you for answering that question.
all right, so Commissioner Fan, you good with that?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford, Chairman Bradley.
Yes.
All right, the next items, 1448, 1449. Southwood Entertainment Corp. This is a conditional contest offer of cancellation and bond claim. The license was summarily suspended on July 20th.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford,
Cancel and bond accepted.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1450. Treaty Management Inc. This is $2,500 CNC. Commissioner Fan,
2,500 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
2,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
The next item, 1451, Ramona Eastman. This is a $1,500 conditional contest plea. Commissioner Fan,
Accept 1,500.
Commissioner Ford,
1,500 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1451A, MVW Inc. It's a conditional no contest plea of $10,000. The license was summarily suspended back on August 22nd. Commissioner Fan,
Accept 10,000.
Commissioner Ford,
Accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next item, 1451B, Villas Lounge 2 Corp. This is a CNC, $30,000 plus no outdoor music and 12:30 a.m. closing. The license was summarily suspended back on August 16th.
This is a suspension that was based on multiple executive order violations. The manager and 2 employees weren't wearing masks. They weren't serving food, and the manager said, well, the patrons come here to drink. 20 people congesting, congregating in the front, nicotine hookah, several fire code violations, no books and records, pre-mixed sangria. The licensee has run up $13,000 worth of fines since 2016. No letter of mitigation or effort to address the fact that the manager acknowledged that this was a bar, and that's why the customers come in.
Right then, Commissioner Fan.
Again, this is the same as before. I need a letter of mitigation explaining how they're going to actually be in compliance from here onwards.
So you'll accept the 30,000, no outdoor music, 12:30 a.m. close, plus a letter of mitigation?
Really, I actually think that 30 is,
Low.
you think it's low?
Yeah, I was gonna go to like at least 35 or 40. I mean, this is all one day.
All right, well, I'll go 30. But I want the letter.
Wait, Commissioner Fan, 30 or 35?
30,000, sorry, 30.
All right, so it's,
I'll accept the 32.
right, but you also want a letter of mitigation.
Yes.
All right, so that would be a counteroffer then.
Well, is it a letter of mitigation or remediation? Because
Remediation. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, this is why our fine should be lower. It's, here's why you should expect that we will comply with the food requirement going forward and the other requirements.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Chairman Bradley?
The hookah, the premixing, everything.
I'm not canceling bond. I have no faith that this place can comply no matter what they say. They have no books and records, which they've been charged with before for not having books and records, which tells me that they're probably buying from somewhere they shouldn't be. They have multiple building code violations. There's a lot of stuff wrong with this place that they've had plenty of time to fix it and they haven't done it. So I'm at canceling bond.
All right, the next items. 1451.
What did we end up at, Tom? $30,000?
$30,000. It's $30,000, no outdoor music, 12:30 closing time, and the letter of remediation. And next items, 1451C and D. La Fuente Steakhouse Corp. This is a conditional offer of $30,000, 12:30 a.m. closing, background music only. The license was summarily suspended on the 27th of September.
This is two cases. The first case was for incidents observed on July 31st. EO violations, 4 employees with no masks, no food service with the kitchen closed, hookah without a permit, extension cord, wiring, no books and records, non-bonafide charge because the kitchen was closed, and a failure to supervise. That notice of pleading went out on August 25th, and we got a not guilty plea from them on September 9th. Independently of that, on August 22nd, the New York Police Department served them with a summons for being open after curfew. Notwithstanding those issues that were that had come to the attention of the licensee, on September 26th, another slew of charges based on a separate visit. No masks for someone in the kitchen and a bartender, 30 people congregating outside drinking, smoking hookah, even though they had been charged with that before, 10 people inside in a temporary tent with 3 sides covered that they had constructed. Still no records. Bunch of fire safety violations. The response is we will offer $30,000, and essentially the licensee concedes some of the violations and denies others, whatever that means. But no explanation as to how the place will comply going forward. They've run up about $17,000 in fines since 2017.
All right. With that, Commissioner Fan?
From the letter from the lawyer, it's clear that this location actually does not even think that that they've done anything wrong. And he says nothing about compliance, as Gary mentioned. And so I have no confidence that they will actually be operating legally. So I met cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, this is over, this is 2 days. This wasn't 1 day, it was 2 days. So I'm at cancel and bond as well.
Chairman Bradley?
Cancel and bond.
Next item, 1451E, the Zebra Lounge NY2 Inc. This is a conditional no contest offer of $25,000 and a 12:30 a.m. closing time. The license was summarily suspended on September 30th.
This is one of the karaoke bars that was caught with over 100 people inside, singing, smoking, at a point when it was still unlawful to have anybody inside. Even if it was open at 25%, it was well over capacity. The letter basically the letter in response makes passing reference to the fact that there were violations, but essentially makes no admission as to, understanding as to what they did that was illegal or how they were going to operate going forward. I'm not quite sure how their business plan works under the current inside restrictions, since it's set up with separate rooms as a karaoke bar. But they've offered $25,000 and a 12:30 a.m. closing time.
And just to be clear, they were not openly open. They were concealing the fact that they were
Yes.
using the facility and sneaking the people in order to conceal that, showing a consciousness of guilt that I think needs to be paid attention to.
All right, so with that, Commissioner Fan, your vote.
Again, I have no confidence that they will actually come into compliance, and they don't seem to think that this public health crisis is of any relevance to themselves, the employees, or their patrons. I'm at cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
Well, there were 107 people inside, and this is just one that we caught them. So I don't have any confidence that this wasn't going on much more than just what we saw. So I'm at cancel and bond as well. I don't have any faith in them either.
Chairman Bradley?
Cancel and bond.
Next item, 1451F, Royal Elite Palace Caterers LLC. This is a $25,000 CNC. The license was summarily suspended on September 30th.
This is a catering license. On September 25th, when no inside service was permitted in New York City, 284 people inside, live band, people standing and socializing, people in line for the buffet, a buffet service affair, which violates executive orders. The licensee claims that he thought it was 50%, that 50% was permitted, which is, I don't even understand how that's possible when he was in. First of all, the service was inside. And second, if you're in the catering business and you've been closed since March, how could you not know what the rules are? It just does not add up. No mitigation letter, no promise to adhere to the 50-person limit. But on the other hand, this is a significant fine that they've offered, $25,000.
Commissioner Fan?
Woodside have one of the highest COVID infection numbers. I have to say that it's because these operators are not paying attention. I mean, come on, you cannot. happened in September. And as Gary said, they shouldn't have been operating for the past half a year. And to bring 300 people to a wedding, I'm at cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford,
I don't see that I have any choice other than cancel and bond as well.
Chairman Bradley,
Cancel them bond.
next item, 1451G, Giorgio's Catering LLC. This is a $10,000 C&C offer. License was summarily suspended on September 26th.
Also a catering hall, although it's an OP license, 75 people for a wedding. At least that's what the owner said, it was 75, but then our investigator counted 95 plus 15 staff. This was in Suffolk County, so inside service was permitted. People were congregating, socializing, and drinking. So the violation of the 50-person limit for affairs, the letter of mitigation says that their failing was a nuanced weakness of some kind. I'm not quite sure what that means. The 50-person limit doesn't appear to me to have all that much nuance. And again, if you're in this business and you've been dealing with these restrictions, it's your lifeline to know what the rules are. And if you've made a decision to operate outside of them, I don't know how you could claim that there was some nuance that got past you. The offer is $10,000.
And once again, you have people standing without masks inside and outside, which there's no nuance about that either. I don't know that could be clearer, the requirement that you wear masks if you're standing.
All right then, Commissioner Fan.
Yes, given everything that Gary said. However, like the fact that the representative made a clear effort to present a new plan of how they're going to be in compliance, and they have a letter of support from their county legislator. And so with that, I will accept 10,000.
Commissioner Ford.
I'll accept the 10,000 for the same reasons.
Chairman Bradley.
10,000.
Next item is 1451H, Twin Ponds Golf Associates, Inc. This is a CNC of $10,000. The license was summarily suspended on September 30th. And Commissioner Ford, you're excused from this matter.
So this is the wedding event that took place in Oneida County that was a super spreader incident. 108 guests attended the affair. I think over 50 of them contracted the virus. At least 2 people died. The licensee is a long time license. It says 1946. That's the earliest year I've seen since I've been here. He claims he relied on the ruling in the D. Marteel case, which was a temporary ruling that applied to one other license upstate, which was then stayed, that held that the 50% limit should apply. I don't know whether that's true or not. He also claims there was no alcohol served at the affair. I don't know why that matters. And that all the other rules were complied with. He has written a letter that at least attempts to explain why he operated outside the law and how he will comply with it going forward. That's all I have to say about it. Yeah.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan.
I mean, these licensees truly have blood on their hands. There's no amount of money, there's no amount of penalty that can change what happened here. I'm going to counter at 20,000.
Chairman Bradley.
20,000. Counter.
At the next item, 1451I, Star Princess. This is a P&C of $15,000 and a 12:30 closing time. The license was summarily suspended on September 19th, and Chairman, you're recused from this matter.
This is 1551I, Tom.
Yes, 1451I.
This is a catering license. On the day in question, 25 people were found inside, no social distancing, no masks, at a time when inside service was not permitted. No food. This is a catering license, and they had no food? I guess they were open as a bar at that point.
Bona fide event.
It was.
How come we didn't charge it on bonfire?
Oh, I have the explanation. The owner claims it was a private event and they brought their own alcohol.
But no food.
Apparently.
I think I remember this. The person who died in 2018. I think I remember looking it up at the time.
Apologies, my notes are unclear. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, the promoter said that the party insisted. I'm sorry, the owner. The party insisted on bringing their own alcohol to serve at the premises.
No food was being served. 10 people standing in front of the premises on the sidewalk, two of them holding open beverage in plastic cups, 25 inside, including children. It was clear, it was obviously a private event.
Mm-hmm.
The owner admitted he booked an indoor event contrary to the SLA guidelines and produced a contract for an occupancy of 150 seated guests. The party was to commence at 8 o'clock and end at 1 a.m. There was a full bar set up, DJ playing, and a food buffet station, although it did not appear anybody was eating or being served food at the time. So perhaps we just arrived during the cocktail hour.
And so with that,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tom.
Commissioner Fan, are you ready to vote?
Again, this is the same as before. How could they have, regardless of what the event was for, they can't book an event, not inside, on September 18th. And they've been charged non-bona fide before. I'm at cancel on bond.
Commissioner Ford,
I will go with cancel and bond as well.
right to the next item, 1451J, Hands LLC. This is a $15,000 conditional offer. The license was suspended on September 9th.
This is two separate dates of EO charges. The first one, the location was found to have lots of patrons. This is in Rochester, New York. Lots of patrons inside with no masks, playing darts and beer pong. That was on August 14th. Then on September 4th, another visit. Our investigators ordered drinks, were not asked by the bartender to order food. The bartender wasn't wearing a mask. People were standing and consuming all around. The general manager on the scene said he was unaware in September of 2020 that it was a violation to have people standing and drinking in the location. They've offered $15,000. The letter of quote mitigation end quote says that the reason there were so many people inside was the police told them to move people inside because there was some trouble in the neighborhood. Whether that's true or not, the operation is clearly violating multiple executive orders. $15,000 offer.
All right, Commissioner Fan.
I find the licensee to be credible in their letter of compliance, how they plan to move forward from here. I will accept 15,000.
Commissioner Ford.
How many patrons were in here? Gary's, 55. It was the upper level, 10 standing and consuming, lower level 16. My notes here were I would accept, but I would also probably propose a counter higher. So I'm probably at 20,000.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll take 15.
The next item, 1451K, the Aqua Club Lounge Inc. This is a CNC of $15,000, 12:30 a.m. closing, background music only. The license was merely suspended back on July 28th.
This is the incident was on July 25th. 20 people standing outside, congregating and drinking, two employees with no masks. Although this place has been open for a long time and only reflects adverse history, well, there's a $10,000 fine in 2018. There's also some adverse history back before then.
You only had the last 5 years.
Right.
We would need more pages for the years before that.
$15,000. $15,000 is offered with a 12:30 closing and background music.
Commissioner Fan.
Bill's mic.
Bill, please put your mic on mute.
Sure.
No. Bill,
Oh, sorry.
can you mute the mic in that room, please?
Thank you.
Commissioner Fan.
I'm only proposing this because they've been suspended since July, and so I would be willing, and they've been licensed since 1983. I'll be willing to go down to 10,000, 12:30 close, background music only.
Commissioner Ford.
10,000, 12:30 close, background only.
Chairman Bradley.
15,000, 12:30 close, background music only.
Next item, 1451L, Wenmar Inc. This is a $10,000 CNC. The license was merely suspended on October 4th.
I'll accept 10,000.
Commissioner Ford.
10,000.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept 10,000.
Next item, 1451M, Pony Inc. This is a $10,000 CNC. License was merely suspended on August 22nd.
Yeah, some points here for the members. So the CNC, the charges concern executive order violations, people inside standing and consuming drinks with no masks, no food being required, not following essentially any of the executive order requirements. When our investigator went to serve the summary suspension, the license could not be secured. I suspect that the premise was told to bring the license in. The license was brought in by Andy Kung, who, when he brought it in, stated that he was putting my license, as he said, into safekeeping due to COVID. Problem is that Mr. Kung, Andy Kung, was removed as the sole principal of the license in 2009 based on a request for a corporate change. The license was, the corporation shares were given to his wife. The record reflects the reason for that corporate change request was that Mr. Kung had been indicted on 7 counts, including felony counts, for failure to pay a significant amount in sales tax. That corporate change was made, so he is not on the license, and he's referring to it as my license here in 2020. Just to see if there was any evidence of whether or not he was actually convicted, I went on the internet, and I'm not saying that we should rely on this, but there is a news report that he pled guilty to a felony for his tax fraud charges in 2010. So certainly my office will be investigating the availing. I'm not sure under these circumstances accepting a conditional no contest and returning the license would make sense.
Commissioner Fan.
I'm more looking at it, if it's eventually going to become a canton bun, I don't want to take that $10,000. So
If you just reject the CNC, we'll investigate, and they won't have their license. And if they want to go to hearing on this, they're certainly entitled to under the law.
But you can amend and put the availing.
We will amend and put the availing on, and certainly we'll need to investigate it before we go to hearing on that charge. But we'll obviously be in touch with them.
all right, it's a problem with lying to the authorities. You have to remember your lies. So I will reject this $10,000 offer.
Commissioner Ford.
I reject it as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll reject it.
Now the next item, 1451N, Expetiva Inc. This is a CNC of $15,000, 12:30 a.m. closing, 11 p.m. outdoor closing, menu and incidental music only.
What does that mean?
I'm gonna assume that they didn't have sufficient menu or food being sold with.
Well, I mean,
I see. Got it.
They're offering a menu. This is a location where the front door was locked when our investigators got there, and when they got inside, 4 people were in there drinking and not being served food. The employee was not wearing a mask inside. Manager said in response to, "How could you be doing this?" "Oh, these customers are waiting for their food," but the customers finished their drinks and left. So
just for clarification, the prosecutor has menu on the agenda sheet, but the plea says is menu attached showing substantial food available to comply with the executive order. And you should have that.
That's right.
This is the village green, right? That's what this is?
Actually, they didn't attach the menu, however.
Yeah. There was a sign with a phone number to call for food orders. I remember this one. Said the workers stated they were all waiting for food who all left when the investigators arrived. There was a sign with a phone number to call for food orders. In addition to indoor consumption, the lights were out in front to conceal their operation. The curtains were also drawn. So, but they have No adverse history here. It was all one day. I'm willing to accept the offer.
Commissioner Fan?
I'll accept as well as, but I want to see the menu.
Do you want to see the menu personally, or is that something you want to
No, I want Adam to see the menu.
defer to licensing?
Well,
License.
Universal eye.
I mean, it is part of the CNC proposal, so they do have to submit it before it's
Sounds
their
good.
license back. So,
Just make sure we get that.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll accept under the same conditions. This incidental music got changed to background music, I take it, Tom?
Well,
Yeah.
I thought we weren't gonna take these different definitions.
well, the offer from the licensee, excuse me, was incidental music, and that's what
I
was.
get that, but we don't have a definition for, we all know what background music is. If the representative who has been practicing here long enough and probably watched the last 20 meetings we have can't figure that out, then we need to do it ourselves.
I don't think this is someone who appears before us regularly or not. I don't know.
Isn't it?
Not a name I recognize.
Don't
Do
mention.
you want to? Do you? Well, here's my thing. Do you want to make that a counter offer and have it recorded background music?
Yes, and she's already put another condition on it anyway, so it doesn't matter. She wants to see the menu, which it makes sense.
Well, that's it. But they already offered. They said
All
they.
right, Tom, make it a counter offer.
Okay.
Put the menu in it as well.
Commissioner Fan.
Yes, agree with the
Commissioner
chairman.
Ford.
Agreed.
All right. The next item is 1451-0. It's a request for a summary suspension.
Tom, do you want to go back to 1408 first?
Sure, we can go back to 1408, which is William Roberts. It's
Yeah.
an on-premises liquor license application, 1408. Are we ready?
Please wait a 30-day comment period.
Yeah, Chairman, do you get a sense that the municipality wants us to hold this over so that they can come in, or?
I didn't understand what you just said.
No, did you get a sense that the local government wanted to actually comment because they said that they are not waiving the 30-day?
No, I haven't heard anything beyond what we had. I mean, I think that to me tells me they have concerns about the place.
Right, exactly. So we can either hold them over, or I can vote to deny.
Yeah, they didn't waive it, but they didn't submit any objection to it either.
I think they indicated they didn't have enough time to make comment on it.
So want to hold it over?
Yeah. That may be the best thing to do, and how long they've waited for this, so.
In the municipality?
They've had their 30 days now, haven't they?
Do we want Adam to reach out to the municipality?
Yes.
So how long do you want to hold it over for then?
Just 2 weeks.
10/28. 10/28.
Mr. Ford, you're good with that?
Yes.
Chairman Bradley?
Yes.
All right. The main two items I have a request from council's office for summary orders of suspension. I see we have one of the attorneys ready. We don't have the other one yet. So, Bill, which item are you here for?
I'm sorry, Tom?
Which item are you presenting?
I'm here for 19 Stanton Restaurant LLC.
All right, then we'll skip to 1451P, which is 19 Stanton Restaurant LLC. It's New York OP 1264800.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, and Commissioner Ford. William Brennan for Council's Office. I'm here today to request that the board summarily suspend the licensee for blatantly violating EO 202.16, 202.41, 202.52, operating beyond the curfew in New York City, and being non-bona fide. 19 Stanton Restaurant LLC, DBA Rochelle's, has been licensed as a restaurant serving liquor, beer, wine, and cider since August of 2012. The premises is located at 19 Stanton Street, New York, New York. On October 9th, 2020, Investigator Stravali of the EO Task Force conducted an inspection of the licensed premises. During the inspection, Stravali observed at least 7 patrons standing and congregating inside the premises without face coverings in violation of EO 202.41. Neither the security guard at the door nor the manager were wearing a face covering as required by EO 202.16. The menu provided to Stravali did not contain substantial food, even though the licensee is a restaurant. Stravali obtained 5 receipts from the self-identified manager that showed no substantial food accompanying alcohol purchases in violation of EO 202.52. The premises was still operating at 1:53 a.m. in violation of the New York City curfew. At that time, there were at least 5 patrons seated at the bar, in addition to at least 7 patrons standing and mingling, not socially distancing. The current license was not displayed at the downstairs bar. Stravali observed a fire extinguisher not mounted that had an expired annual inspection tag. There was a defective emergency exit sign, a missing switch plate, and an extension cord was being used for permanent wiring, all violations of local regulations. It's clear from the investigator's report, as well as the pictures provided by Investigator Stravali, that the manner in which this licensee is conducting business poses an immediate threat to the safety, health, and well-being of the community and the public at large. The licensee disregarded EO 202.16, 202.41, 202.52, the curfew in New York City, social distancing guidelines, as well as several fire and safety codes. For these reasons, Counsel's Office respectfully requests that the board issue an emergency order suspending the licensee.
Commissioner Fan, any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
I have no questions. Or no.
Chairman Bradley.
I have no questions.
All right, then I'll call for your votes. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on the evidence presented by Council Brennan, this location poses an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence presented by council, I vote to summarily suspend this license as well.
Chairman Bradley.
Based on the evidence presented, it's clear this licensee has become a risk to the public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend.
All right, then. We don't have the prosecutor on the next item. Hasn't joined the meeting yet. We'll take a brief recess, and then we'll resume in a few minutes. All right, are we all ready to proceed then?
Yes.
I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I'm here.
The,
I can.
the next item is 1451O, New York OP 1150732. Low Eng Inc. to request for a proposed order of summary suspension.
Good afternoon, members of the authority. Robert F. Buckley for Counsel's Office from the New York office. The licensee that's on as to this agenda item has a doing business name as Fat Buddha, 212 Avenue A in Manhattan. More significantly, it's in the East Village, but more significantly, it's in the confines of Community Board 3, Manhattan, which I'll reference in a minute or two. These premises have been licensed for a relatively lengthy period of time, since July 30th, 2004, as a restaurant, essentially doing business on the first floor, though it's licensed in the basement. The original owners are no longer on the corporate structure. The two owners are a Howard and Clifford Cho, who are brothers. In any event, when the license was first issued, excuse me. Sorry. The premises was to be open from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m. daily, only recorded music, an occasional DJ, no security. The last certificate of occupancy has 64 persons maximum occupancy. When the license was initially applied for, Community Board 3 had the licensee agree to stipulate that it would have food until closing and no more than 10 DJ events in a year. As stated there again, there's been a change in ownership since the original application, but that stipulation would still apply. And then on this past Friday, early Friday morning, October 9th, 2020, a COVID task force, Investigator Stravali, at least, and Detective Spadaro with NYPD Vice were on patrol and observed after midnight, particularly at 12:07 a.m., that there are at least 20 persons lingering and congregating in front of this location, most not exercising social distancing, most, if not all, not wearing face coverings, and they had open containers. As well as from the photographs that also, and as well as the photograph I've attached, which shows a Google image of the premises. It's easily identifiable. There's a black and white Buddha iconography outside the location, but from the photographs taken by Investigator Stravali or the task force, it shows people not only lingering from the location, but on each adjacent storefront. Investigator Stravali interviewed the manager of the location, a Carlos Franco, and Mr. Franco indicated that to Investigator Stravali that these persons had, quote, that everyone finished eating at 7 p.m. and they were trying to get rid of them. Now, there's also, during the course of this license, there were further stipulations. In 2010 or thereabouts, there were complaints to Community Board 3 that this premises had DJ events, that sometimes more than one DJ at an event, and that there was noise emanating from this premises. Though there was a further stipulation to renew the license in 2014 that the premises will not use the outdoor areas, will have at least one security guard outside during weekdays and two on weekends, Friday and Saturday, close facade doors at 8 p.m. every night, install additional soundproofing, designate an employee other than a security guard to oversee patron noise and crowds on the sidewalk, only 4 or 5 patrons outside of smoke at a time, erect stanchions to separate patrons from the public sidewalk, post signs directing patrons to be quiet, monitor DJ and patron sound, and ensure that the sound will be inaudible outside, and provide a number for residents to call complaints. And in fact, in that stipulation, which the licensee signed, it indicated as one of 2 people to contact, which would be this same Carlos Franco. And that stipulation was signed by Clifford Cho, one of the principals, on May 27th, 2014. So on this occasion, after Investigator Stravali noted that there was no food being served at this location, nobody was eating food, then people were departing with open beverages in their hands, that Mr. Franco claimed that there was no security guard because the premises couldn't afford to pay for one. Again, the stipulations are on the license to have security guards, and that the facade, the facade, the doors close at 8 p.m. So the licensee clearly violated the stipulation that it entered into, and that became incorporated on the license certificate. This being a early Thursday, or early Friday, they would have to have at least 1 security guard. Investigator Stravali also saw that the lights to the outdoor dining were on. The licensee, again, had apparently set up, from the photographs, a canopy in the roadway. And again, people were haphazardly sitting or standing both in front of the premises and adjacent to it. They appear to be in a very casual nature. And also, Investigator Stravali note that the lights are on inside the premises and there are employees inside. And again, since the premises outdoor area was open well past the 11 p.m. curfew, that's in conjunction with the Mayor's Executive Order number 126 and the guidelines associated with the open restaurant program, the licensee was clearly in violation of that allowance to have outdoor dining. Again, no food was being served. Face coverings were not worn by most of the patrons, not all. Employees were not wearing face coverings. An investigator, Stravali, did a interior safety inspection. There was a defective emergency light, extension cords that were used for permanent wiring. Fire extinguishers not been inspected for a year, since October of 2019. And compressed gas tanks not secured at all, in violation of the New York City Fire Code. So as to the executive orders, 202.38 regarding outdoor dining, and 202.43 regarding the licensee to inspect, monitor, and supervise the outdoor 100 feet from the premises, the licensee was clearly in violation of those executive orders, as well as there was no food being served at that point, in violation of 202.52, as well as the stipulations, which were, again, incorporated on the license certificate. Again, with the narrative of Investigator Stravali's report and the photographs, it seems that the licensee has clearly violated those executive orders that would contribute to the transmission of the virus. Again, you have people lingering, not social distancing, consuming alcohol beverages, not wearing face coverings. Consuming of alcohol beverages obviously would affect their judgment. And again, if the licensee did comply with that stipulation of, again, 1, having security guards, and 2, having a separate person monitor the outdoor area, perhaps this situation would not have occurred, or at least would be diminished in some way. But in any event, it seems that the licensee has not taken proper steps to ensure that these executive orders are in compliance. As Governor Cuomo has said, I'm paraphrasing, that the public education, which continues, is been superseded by really compliance. Everyone in the state should know what the executive orders are, particularly licensees, and clearly the licensee is not in compliance with these executive orders, which are designed to prevent the transmission of the COVID-19 virus. The licensee has no adverse history since 2013. There was a $6,000 penalty paid for not having licensed security guards in November and December of 2013. There's been no particular complaints that I've seen really since that 2013 matter, except for one July 2020 complaint made to our Enforcement Bureau about DJs and loud music. There was no follow-up to that, but in this case, there was a follow-up, and eventually the crowd was dispersed. At about 12:37 a.m., the task force left, and Texas Pataro issued a summons for violating the executive order regarding service past 11 p.m. in the outdoor area. So, with that, I submit this to the board, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer it to the best I can.
Commissioner Fan, any questions?
Mr. Buckley, you mentioned that the lights indoors were on when the investigators got there?
Yes, the investigator indicated the lights were on both in the outdoor area. There's apparently there's a canopy with some lights, a string of lights attached. That also, I neglected to mention, Commissioner Van, that furniture from the bar was on the sidewalk being used by patrons, and the door to the establishment was ajar, and individuals were walking in and out, and Investigator Stravalli continues, the lights are on inside the premises, and employees are inside. So it appears that the premises were open for business. And again, one thing I did want to note, that Mr. Franco's complaint that people had been finished eating at 7 p.m. And again, it's now past midnight, 5 hours later, and they were trying to get rid of them. Well, that doesn't really hold water. That means either persons were there for 5 some odd hours not eating, and that Mr. Franco could not disperse these people. That does not hold water in any way whatsoever. If that's the case, that there were these people, then Mr. Franco clearly didn't have the ability to supervise this location. Again, he was designated as one of the persons in the 2004 stipulation as to a person to whom the neighborhood could register complaints for noise or other matters. So clearly there's, I think probably the most reasonable explanation is that Mr. Franco was giving Mr. Stravalli a line because he knew that the premises were in violation.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
Only one. You said they were licensed to when again, Mr. Buckley?
Commissioner Ford, July 30th, 2004. But again, there's been corporate changes in the intervening time, so the original principles are no longer there. But again, there was the stipulations would still apply. So there's again 2 brothers, Howard and Clifford Cho. They are both actually looking at their application. One of them, I believe, was in software design. The other one was in real estate financing, but they did say they were going to maintain some degree of management. But I would say probably this Mr. Franco and another person mentioned were probably more the day-to-day managers looking at the application.
Okay, thank you very much. No more questions.
Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, we'll call for the vote of the full board. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on the evidence presented by Mr. Buckley, this location is presenting an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare. And I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Summarily suspend for the same reasons.
Chairman Bradley.
The presentation as well as the pictures in the file, I vote to summarily suspend. It's clear this licensee is a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right then. Chairman, I have nothing else on the calendar. Do you have anything else?
I do not. Thank you.
All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.